Hello and welcome to battle number 5 of my fictional 1815 campaign with Napoleon versus Wellington at the Battle of Enghien. We'll go over, I'll show you a quick clip of the map. That this is a fantastic map, at least I think so, that James, my friend, made for me on Adobe with his little drawing pad. He's amazing. And just give you the background on the campaign thus far. In the first part of this fictional 1815 command, we had a battle at Tournai, which Napoleon won, driving the British to the east to Luz, where I think he won by technicality. Either one of both of these battles were done using the Valor and Fortitude rule set, which is awesome, which I think is a phenomenal rule set, especially it's in the black powder type realm. So that I think it's used by the Perry brothers. So it's pretty cool. If you like black powder, I think you'll like that, just for a different spin on things. After defeating the British on the technicality at Luz, they moved to the northeast and had a massive battle at Ath, which once again Napoleon was victorious. This time using the General Desarmées 2 rule set that had just been released. So way to go, Napoleon. Napoleon caught up to Wellington as he retreated, and they fought a rear guard action on this road to Enghien. Once again, Napoleon was victorious, knocking out a lot of the British guns, slowing some reinforcements, and forcing the British farther to the northeast towards Enghien, where now Wellington has been reinforced by some Prussian, Russian, and Austrian infantry, and is ready to turn the tables on Napoleon and try to bring a victory to the 7th Coalition. So here we are back on the fields of Enghien. Coming in from the west, we've got the Army du Nord, and then defending possibly defending, I've got a little spin on that in a minute here, are the forces of the 7th Coalition under the command of the Duke of Wellington. The premise of this battle, just to have a little bit of fun with it, is after the defeat of the rearguard battle farther down the road to the west, the British have continued to move off to the northeast. Napoleon thought he was driving them, and he's like, yes, I got him. But, Wellington's a little bit smarter than that. He's actually been slowly withdrawing from all these battles off the northeast, kind of lengthening Napoleon's supply lines while also continually drawing himself closer to his more and more reinforcements coming from the east, from places such as Austria, Prussia, and Russia. So as I continue to paint more and more of those nationalities, more and more of them will start showing up on the battlefield. Never fear, all you French Napoleonic fans. I will be painting stuff for the French as well, but we will be seeing more and more Prussian, Russian, and Austrian flags in the future. As you can see down there, I am up to 2 full brigades, 10 infantry battalions, and 1 artillery battery for those gentlemen. So the premise is Wellington picked this battlefield. Napoleon thought he had him, closed in and concentrated, but behind this hill over here to the southeast, those 2 foreign brigades are closing in. So suddenly Napoleon thought he had a numerical superiority, and now he's like, oh gosh, I'm already deployed. Here comes an entire force to my right. I have a weak screening brigade over there kind of protecting me, and now they're up against triple their number of Russian, Prussians, and Austrians. So, and now we're fighting. Napoleon's not going to back away from this. He still thinks he can outsmart him. He might just do it, because he's done nothing but win in 1815, which is kind of unlike him. So, but we're just considering he's at his prime. The reason I moved to this campaign in the first place is because of generous gift of Mike Desleret when he gave me a bunch of Austrian, Prussian, and Russian troops. That didn't really fit in the Peninsular Campaign that I was involved in prior to that. So now I'm kind of like, well, let's go with a fictional 1815 campaign. So here we are. We're looking from the southeast corner of the battlefield as the Prussians, Austrians, and Russians make their entrance behind this hill. This is a, what do we got, 15 foot by 7 foot battlefield. It's a little bit congested over there because that's where the main battle was supposed to take place, which offers a neat little alternative here where we'll have a lot of fun, a lot of close contact, a lot of just brutality down at that end. And this end should offer some maneuvering and a little bit of more tactics. So we're gonna get the best of both worlds. I'm kind of excited about this. And eventually, when I move into the room over there to my left, I won't show you because right now it's an epic nightmare. When I add on another 6 by 12 foot table in there, we'll get even more maneuvering as we continue to add more troops. So looking forward to just getting into this hobby more and more. I got to make up for the fact that I got into it late in life, and I'm kind of kicking myself for that. But I'm here and I'm loving it, and I'm glad you guys are on this trip with me. So we get down here to sea level. This is a game of General d'Armée 2. I'll try to explain some rules as we go along, but if you really are interested in learning a lot more about this particular Napoleonic rule set, the Too Fat Lardies have a phenomenal tutorial with David Brown, the author. It's a multi-video to watch. He's fantastic as always. I like a lot of his rule systems are amazing, and seeing him in interviews, he's a classy person in my opinion. He was great on the Plastic Crack podcast and a couple other podcasts that I've seen. He's always great when he shows in up on with Richard Clark on Too Fat Lardies. But this, and also there's also sorry, and I kind of lost my train of thought there. I do that all the time. Also, check your leader TV. He's got a General d'Armée 2 boot camp. Scott Driscoll, he's a I think Australian Army artillery officer. So you'll see a lot more tactics on his channel compared to mine. He does an awesome series of the boot camp of this game to tell you the basics. Plus, he uses a mechanism of playing a battle to teach you. I think just the Battle of Crayon, and he has a few other games too with some really neat parts of it with preliminary plans and everything else. Really breaks it down militarily, which is really cool if that appeals to you. So you can check him out. This mat, when people ask, they're 3 7 foot by 5 foot fur battle mats from a company that went out of business during the pandemic. Was called Killing Fields Terrain. They are no longer in business. There is, I think, there's a company called Warsigel that is starting to sell them now. But of course, inflation, the prices have gone up. I think I paid $75 for each one of these back in the day, and now they're up to like 100 and something. But isn't everything more expensive nowadays? It's ridiculous. The buildings are predominantly from Charlie Foxtrot, but there are some foreground stuff. Another company that went out of business, unfortunately. And I think that's it. My stone walls are from Warlord. The trees are from Woodland Scenics and Foreground. And the miniatures are a mix of Warlord, Perry, Victrix, Hat, and I'm sure there's more out here. I don't even know because I got some were donated to me too. So I think that's the predominant what most of these miniatures are, and that covers the basics of everything. So we will get into forces and we'll go on from there. I have an entire order of battle laid out that I'll share in the description on a Google document you can check out. It's got every brigade, every regiment, so you can look at that too for more detail, just so this isn't a 17-minute or 30-minute intro. Now there are 3 built-up areas with humorous names as far as I'm concerned. Some were given to me by friends of the channel, and one was done by my friend James. This built-up area in particular is the three-headed goat. And I'll spare you from my French pronunciation, but I might take a couple shots at it during the game, so you can have a giggle at me. The central built-up area for the Allies is the baker's house, and today's special is beef Wellington. So if you want to pop by, go ahead and get your table booked before the artillery starts slamming into it. You might want to go ahead and book early. These two built-up areas, if the French can occupy them both, that will be one of their victory conditions. The other one will be driving the coalition from the field. The site of Napoleon's headquarters is the Three Ladies Inn. So I like this. I included some funny notes that my buddy Tony, from the friend of the channel, put on in his ideas for the buildings. I thought it was fabulous. Of course, his French is probably much better than mine. So there you go. There's two victory conditions for the Allies. They can either drive the French from the field, or they can capture Napoleon's headquarters. So that's important, how those three ladies are to Napoleon. Everything else is, you got hills, and that's basically it. So the trees. This one woods here is kind of the only one that's kind of not eye candy. Is this one here? That'll block line of sight. Skirmishers can go in there, of course. And I'll do my best to try to get the rules right for General Desarmées too. But this is only game number 3 for me, so I am by no means an expert. So I'm counting on people like Dom and Scott and other people that play tested this game to throw me some pointers. This will be a core level game of GDA, and we'll go ahead and start with the forces of the 7th Coalition. In command at his headquarters, eating some beef Wellington, of course, is the Duke of Wellington. And he is just his amazing self, hoping to basically turn Wellington away here. Turn Napoleon away. He's lost a few. He's starting to get worried about the morale of his troops. He's starting to see those reinforcements coming from his eastern allies, and he's getting excited, so now he's going to try to reverse the tables on them. So he's in command. He will have a corps adjutant with him, and so will Napoleon. Commanding 1st Corps is the Earl of Uxbridge on the coalition's right flank. He will have 6 brigades in his command, and we'll go over those after we just go over the corps commander for the 2nd Brigade. Picton, with his top hat and his umbrella, is in charge of the 2nd Corps, and he also has 6 brigades under his command. All 4 corps commanders have 2 caissons for artillery, and each C&C has 2 caissons that they can give to either of the corps commanders to supplement their caisson number. 1st Brigade under General Halkett. He's a standard brigade commander. He is under the Earl of Uxbridge. He has 5 infantry battalions under his command, plus 1 artillery battery. He's also defending the Three-Headed Goat Inn, so yeah, that's a big one to keep. 2nd Brigade is General Stewart. General Halkett also, I think he has 5 skirmish bases with him of 95th Rifles. General Stewart is a standard brigade commander. He has 4 line battalions, one of which is a Hanoverian field battalion, and he has 4 skirmish bases of 95th Rifles. Next, under Uxbridge's command is 8th Brigade. General Pack. General Pack has 4 battalions of Highland infantry. He is a bold brigadier. He has 4 skirmish bases of Highlander skirmishers. So yes, they're ready to kick some serious butt and make up for when I hosed them over in a game of valor and fortitude earlier in the campaign. 9th Brigade is General Carmichael, named after Doug Carmichael. Don't be looking for him in the history books. He's just a legend in my world. Doug is commanding 4 line battalions of British Guard, 2 battalions of the 1st, 1 battalion of the 2nd, and the 3rd battalion, or the Scots Guards. And they have 5 skirmish bases of 95th Rifles. Doug is a bold brigadier in charge of the British Guard. The cavalry reserve also falls under Earl of Uxbridge, General Ponsonby, standard British brigade commander, 5 cavalry squadrons, including 2 guard, 2 dragoon, and 1 hussar. And I definitely need to get more out here, and I can't wait to paint more horses. And the final component in the first corps is General Hawker. He's commanding the Corps Artillery Brigade, which is under the Corps Artillery Rules, or the Corps Rules, excuse me, where you get to break off 2 artillery sections, put them together, and make 1 Corps Artillery standalone brigade. 4 9-pounders. So I think each gun is supposed to stand for 2 guns, so that's a nice battery. Starting off for the second corps is 3rd Brigade with 2 King's German Legion battalions, 2 Hanoverian Field battalions. General Adams, standard brigade commander. Right behind him is 4th Brigade with General Mitchell with 4 British Line battalions. Both of these guys have 4 skirmish bases of 95th Rifles, or 60th Royal American, depending who you ask. Moving down the line, I believe it's 5th Brigade, correct? Yep, it's 5th Brigade under General Johnstone, standard British brigadier with 4 British Line battalions and 4 skirmish bases. Both 4th and 5th Brigades have artillery batteries within their brigades, so we got some Royal Artillery guns going, double barrel, both of them. 11th Brigade under General Stedman has the honor of also providing Wellington with his guard. They're garrisoning the Baker's Inn, so that's there, and they have 3 line battalions outside with skirmish bases. 7th Brigade is your and my favorite aristocrat, General von Steinmetz, Prussian commander. He has 3 Prussian line battalions. Only had 1 last game. They have multiplied, and they've got some new flags too. I found out they had the one I had the wrong flag on, and then 2 Austrian, 1 line battalion and 1 militia, and they actually have Jaegers, so they have 5 Prussian Jaeger skirmish bases. And then the final brigade for the 7th Coalition is General Semenovich, who's arrived with his 5 Russian line battalions. Yes, 1 of which is Guard, 3 first battalions and 2 second battalions. I thank you to Tim, the Napoleonic wargamer, for teaching me the difference between looking at the different flag colors. You can tell if it's either a 1st Brigade or a 2nd Brigade or a 3rd Brigade. So I didn't know that. I learned a lot watching his shows. He's a phenomenal resource for all things Napoleonic. So they have 5 of them, and I don't have any Russian skirmishers yet, so they have 3. They have 5 British rifles skirmishing for them on loan from the British. They also have we have a combined Austrian Russian battery, which is new, though. That was an awesome gift. And they're the force coming in from the southeast. All right, moving on to the Army du Nord. Napoleon chilling at the 3 Lady Inn, looking out over his forces. He's confident still. He knows he's been surprised a little bit, but he's not going to let that on. He's going to try to pull this out. So he is centrally located there, feeling confident in his headquarters, and we'll roll out to 1st Corps Commander, then on to 2nd Corps Commander. You know him, you love him, the Duke of Moscova. That's Marshal Ney. He's ready to go, baby. Already charging, just taking off. Ready to, even though he's outgunned over here on the right, if anyone can win this, it's going to be his crazy butt. So he's in charge of 1st Corps. Marshal Soult is over on the French left. He's got some serious firepower. Napoleon's giving him all the good stuff. He's looking to steal anything that's not nailed down, and when he gets into these built-up areas, if you haven't got your beef Wellington by yet, he is going to take it and probably steal your teeth too. That's my boy, Marshal Soult, leading 2nd Corps. 1st Brigade out here, they thought they got a little break. They're going to be screening the right, covering the flank of the main attack, and they're in trouble now as they start seeing Austrian, Prussian, and Russian flags approaching from the southeast. So they're firing up. They're actually putting musket balls back in their barrels now. Like, oh gosh, we got to do something. General Clouseau, he's a standard brigade commander. 4 French line battalions with 4 skirmish bases. Does have an artillery battery with him, and they'll be doing some heavy duty work and hopefully surviving against the Russians. Next in line for the French is 5th Brigade under General Bru, standard brigade commander, with 4 voltigeur screening bases of skirmishers. He has an artillery section with him. Yeah, they're going to be doing some stuff. Right behind General Bru is his best buddy, leading 6th Brigade, standard brigade commander, General Mazarny. He's got a history of doing some good things, so let's see if he can keep it up here. Also under Marshal Ney is 10th Brigade, General Amiel. He has 5 squadrons of French cavalry, squadron of chevaux légers, a squadron of chasseurs à cheval, a squadron of cuirassiers, a squadron of carbineers, and yes, a squadron of carbineers of the guard. So carbineers des cheval grenadier, I guess is the correct, well, I wouldn't say pronunciation because you know I didn't do that right. So that's 10th Brigade, mixed anywhere from guard all the way down to like so-so. There's different ways to classify all these units. Most of the stuff is going to be line. Most of the British stuff is going to be drilled, so they'll get that extra dice when they're shooting. The final part of 9th Brigade is the Guard Brigade under General de Slauret. He's a bold brigadier. He has 2 battalions of Young Guard, 1 voltigeur, 1 tirailleur, a Middle Guard battalion, and then an Old Guard Grenadier and an Old Guard Chasseur battalion. So those guys are just going to be menacing, and they're always brutal. So let's see what they can do. They're in reserve basically behind the inn, just waiting for the Emperor to call them forward, and let's see what happens. Under Marshal Soult, we got first up is who's up first? Sorry, 2nd Brigade, General Grenier, 4 infantry battalions of French line, and also an artillery battery up on that hill there. And he's a standard brigade commander. 3rd Brigade, also under Soult, has 5 infantry battalions under the command of General Peugeot. He's a standard brigade commander. They're guarding the center. They've also got a battalion garrisoned with Napoleon in the 3 Lady Inn. They've got 3 line base of skirmishers of voltigeurs. They have 5 actually. No, they have 4. I might owe them 1. And they have a artillery battery with them as well. Nope, I just can't count. There are 5 of them. I got it right. I'm so excited. Is it 4th Brigade? Yeah, 4th Brigade is a fan favorite. The 9th Léger. They're going to be drilled. They're going to be light infantry. They're going to be brutal. General Houzon is a bold brigade commander. So they should be doing some damage. 4 light infantry battalions of the 9th. 7th Brigade, carrying on the tradition of the Roman Empire. Yes, 4 line battalions of Italian infantry under General Jamin. He's a standard brigade commander. 4 Italian skirmish bases ready to kick some butte for the Italians. 8th Brigade is amazing under Campi, another bold brigadier. He is in charge of 2 grenadier Swiss line battalions. Actually, they're guard. And then 3 grenadier guard battalions, or grenadier battalions of the Vistula Legion. So they're going to be awesome. They have 5 skirmish bases, and they're backing up the Italians. And then 11th Brigade, it's been kind of an X factor with the Grand Battery. Doesn't look so grand, but General Domond, he's going to hopefully not fail all of his orders the entire time, as he's leading the French artillery in the center here. Can be blasting away trying to put holes in Wellington's beef Wellington. So that's it. We're going to start the battle. You roll off, you do the corps orders, the 4 dice for that for each side, and then we'll go through all of the who's active, who's got ADCs, who doesn't, and then we'll do the initiative, and then we're going to kick it off. So hang on, and this should be a good one. We'll see you in a minute. All right, turn one, General d'Armée 2. Let's go, baby. We'll start off with since Wellington was the devious one, we'll start off with his core orders first. All right, Uxbridge ends up with 4 ADCs. Now we'll move over to Picton. Wellington rocks the Casbah, gets all 4 of them. Way to go, baby. Napoleon's command and control, a little bit struggly. Only has the red and the blue dice to work with. Moving right along with ADCs, we'll start off with the Earl of Uxbridge. He has 6 possibilities rolling now. All right, Uxbridge ends up with 4 ADCs. Now we'll move over to Picton. Picton rolled 4, but he got 1 double 6, so he goes up to 5. Way to go, baby. Ney has 5 brigades under his command. 4 and 5 brigades will get you a 5 ADC roll. Ney gets all 5 of those. Strong work. We'll go on to Soult. He will have 6 attempts. Alright, the Earl of Uxbridge only had 4 ADCs to play with. He's going to go ahead and do a skirmish tasking on General Stewart's brigade up here, and also a skirmish tasking on General Pack's brigade to their left. So that'll be 8th Brigade and I think 2nd Brigade, correct? Yep, and 2nd Brigade are going to get those skirmish taskings. They both have a reroll, so that'll be their 4 ADCs, and we'll go ahead and just see of his brigades who's gonna be active and who's gonna be on vacation. I've marked all 6 of his brigades with different colored dice, and then we're gonna roll all 6 at once just for time purposes. Yoo-hoo! General Hawker in the Corps Artillery goes hesitant. General Carmichael will get 1 more dice because he is a bold brigadier. And then also 1st Brigade over here, General Halkett, also goes hesitant. Both skirmish taskings go off, and they don't need to use their ADCs. General Carmichael pays off, so he doesn't. They don't worry about that. They still have 2 hesitant brigades, which will cause a -1 to, or actually 1 extra dice to roll in the initiative phase for Wellington. For Picton, he's going to order a forwards tasking and a reroll over here on for von Steinmetz in the 7th Brigade, and then that's going to cost him 3. And then he's going to try to do for 4th Brigade just an artillery assault with no reroll. He has no bold brigadier commanders, so these are all just going to be straight up rolls. Everybody passed except for von Steinmetz, and he has a reroll, so let's see what he can do. Wellington's going to spend his red dice for his core orders and give another ADC to the Earl of Uxbridge and see if he can shake off one of his hesitant brigades so he will not pay a penalty on the initiative. I think technically I should have done this before everything else, but that's okay. It's been a while since I played. We'll go ahead and re-roll Hawker's ADC. So Uxbridge ends up with just first brigade being hesitant, and he will not pay a penalty on the initiative, which is that'll work. I think that's fair, because if you had a bunch of hesitant stuff, you could use the ride the line later on too. So I don't know. I'll have to. I don't know if there's any writing in the small print about not doing that, but that worked out okay for me. Okay. Clouseau is going to have a re-roll. This is for Ney. Mazarny is going to have a forwards tasking and a re-roll. Brew is going to have a reroll, so that's all 5 of his ADCs. And then we got a Bold Brigadier in Deslauriers. So that's all 5 of his, and we'll reroll that. Mazarin was the only one to fail, and he has an ADC. So ADC reroll. So we'll do that real quick. All right, General Soult getting crazy. He's going to immediately spend a caisson and do artillery assault from both of the core batteries. Going to hammer the coalition center with as much firepower as he can. So that's artillery assault plus a reroll. Then he's going to do a forwards tasking over here on Enghien, which gets you up to 5 ADCs, which is what he had. And then Napoleon's going to give him his red dice so he can put a reroll for the Italians to begin their assault against the inn of the 3-headed goat. I'm going to try something a little different here. Huzon with the 9th Léger and Campi with the Swiss and the Vichy Legion are both Bold Brigadiers. So they get the extra dice for not having orders on more than 1 ADC assigned. I'm going to go ahead and just add the ADCs for rerolls into my initial rolling. So there'll be an extra pink dice and an extra orange one for Domon and Enghien. Everything's active for the French, which is phenomenal. The British have, or the 7th Coalition has everything active except for 1st Brigade, but that's still, you have to have 2 brigades in the same division to be hesitant to get a penalty on the initiative roll. So it'll be even initiative rolls for both sides. We'll go ahead and knock that out, and then we'll get into the movement. Napoleon showing why he's the boss. He rocks that out. Rolls an 11. He will get initiative, and he will be trying to stick it to the Wellington as soon as possible. All right, here comes movement. Starting on the French line, the French right. 1st Brigade under Clouseau. Move forward in line 6 inches. Their skirmishers advance, their 4 bases of skirmishers advance 12 inches towards the hill. And that's the first one, moving along. Next brigade in line for the French, heading towards the north, is the 27th Regiment, the 4 battalions of the 5th Brigade. Move forward under General Brew 9 inches with their skirmishers out front. Kind of did a little oblique move, kind of moving it in an angle. And yep, that's that one. Mazarin's 6th Brigade passed a forwards tasking, but as I read the rules, I want to deploy them this direction. That's kind of out of a 45-degree angle. So this is more of a redeploy, I believe, than a forwards tasking. I might be reading it wrong, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. Forwards tasking costs 2 ADCs. A redeploy tasking costs 1. So just to kind of compensate for that, I'm going to just use 1d6 extra for the forwards tasking instead of 2d6, and then let them start redeploying this direction. 6th Brigade starts deploying out to reinforce the right flank of the French. I'm going to start moving the guard into that position they made. It just feels like it's too soon for a cavalry charge, even in my standards. The guard begins to redeploy into the space left open by Mazarin's brigade, their departure. The center forces will stay firm at their elevated position, probably just get hammered by artillery. Grenier sends up his skirmishers forward, and then on the left, Enghien got his forwards tasking with the Italians, and Campi will advance behind him. The Italians and the Vichy Legion with the Swiss have moved forward, closing in on the British on the hill up there. All right, that'll end French movement. We'll go over into 7th Coalition movement, and there will be no reserve movement because everybody is on the board. Starting off with von Steinmetz over here on the coalition left. He's got a forwards tasking. Let's see how many extra inches he gets to move. Von Steinmetz advances his brigade up onto the ridge line. Skirmishers out front, getting close to those Frenchies. The Russians also advanced just 9 inches in line, column, just staying behind their Austrian and Prussian brothers. Stedman's 11th Brigade, 3 of the battalions advanced 6 inches. They also cast their skirmishers into that gap there, so they can also fire along with this brigade onto the oncoming French columns. General Adam and 3rd Brigade sent his skirmishers forward to engage the French in front of the Three Lady Inn where Napoleon said, just let them know they're here. Carmichael and Pack also advanced their brigades with that's the Highland Brigade and the British Guard Brigade moving forward. And that's it. I think the rest of the coalition stuff is going to stay still. That should be all the movement phase. We'll do a quick pan over the battlefield. And yeah, get on to shooting, starting with skirmishers. So the French have decided the best defense is an offense down here in typical Napoleon fashion. This brigade is advanced. They're immediately getting another brigade to redeploy behind them to support them on the right. Even though they're getting help, the Prussians and Austrians are coming over the hill. The Russians have started moving with them a little bit slower. Got British filling in and Hanoverians filling in this hole here, this little gap, getting their skirmishers forward to lay down fire into this brigade that's advancing an attack column. Cavalry, of course, sitting still. Guard, Imperial Guard moving into this area to kind of shore up the lines. French holding firm here. Coalition doing the same, except that we have the skirmish tasking for the King's German Legion Brigade moving forward. And then we've got an advance. We've got opposing advances over here as the Highland Brigade and the Guard Brigade move in, closing in on the side of Napoleon's headquarters, while the Italians and the Vistula Legion advance towards the Les Maisons du. I'm gonna try to get all French there. Du bac à trois têtes. Yeah, the three-headed goat inn. Much easier to say for me. Okay, so we go into skirmish shooting. French will start it off. Boom, break out the cotton balls. I'm excited. These gentlemen down here on the south side were just outside of 12 inches of range. But if we can look up on the north side of the battlefield, skirmish fire is broken out across the entire length of the battlefield. Oof. Alright, French up first. Let's see how this goes. Bruce skirmish line will shoot 5 skirmish dice at their counterparts. Let's see how they do. Great shooting by those French voltigeurs as they put 2 casualties on one of the bases of the 95th Rifles. The center, where there are 5 French skirmish bases, they'll fire 6 dice at the British skirmishers. They're only able to inflict 1 casualty on the British. We'll move farther down the line. Another 4 base screen of French firing at the British. The white dice are hot as they blast 2 casualties onto the Highland skirmishers. And then panning to the right, the Italian skirmishers will fire at the British up on the hill. Just like that, Stuart's skirmish screen just takes 1 casualty. Alright, we'll start down here since I'm already over here. The British skirmishers, they have 4 bases. They're 95th Rifle, so they go up from 5 up to 6. And they're on the skirmish tasking, so they go up to 8. Personally, I think the Italians lucked out there and only take 2 casualties. If you're on the skirmish task and you get a double 6, it automatically does a discipline check. It's the only way to get it. A discipline check with skirmishers. 4 bases of the Highland Brigade's skirmish line. They're going to fire back. They'll be their first shots as members of this wargaming channel. Let's see what happens. Unfortunately, I don't get the 95th Rifles thing, so try to stay a little bit more true to the what they'd look like. You pay the price. Grenier's skirmish screen takes 1 casualty. Sliding over the right here is these British 95th Rifles again. I think these guys might have a skirmish task. Let me check. No, they don't. They'll just get 6 shots. The French suffer a casualty. They can live with that. Alright, sliding over. We have another 6 shots coming into these French. And those gentlemen also suffer 1 casualty. Alright, skirmish shooting's done. So we didn't have any charges. We didn't have movement. Oh, so we did movement. We've done the skirmish fire. We go on to, I think it's artillery fire and then volley fire. Let me just double check, but I'm 90% sure. And here's where stuff starts getting crazy. Artillery cutting loose. We're gonna start doing some serious casualties. I love volley fire, but artillery fire is pretty awesome. Alright, we got lots of guns for the French. Alright, these guys are going to fire a round shot at the elevated Prussian attack column on the hill. Let's see what we can do. Let's check the range and see what they do. These are, I think, 8-pounders. This will be an inferior volley at long range with 1 extra CD. Skirmishers can't screen against round shot. Just goes right through them. The artillery can choose to fire at the skirmish screen if they want to, and then do bounce through if the unit is within 3 inches behind it. 2nd Battalion, 10th Infantry Regiment from Silesia, or Silesian, sorry. The pronunciation is probably horrible. They take 2 casualties, 1 from the round and 1 from the extra combat dice. 5th Brigade's guns fired effective range at those British lines. Just regular shooting, no extra dice. They'll really bounce through on the unit behind them, though. Only 1 casualty to the 2nd Regiment, Queen's Own. Alright, Domon, who has a track record of probably needing to be relieved of command, is a double artillery assault with the core artillery battery or brigade against those British guns straight ahead in front of Wellington, trying to make an impact. Maybe 2 inferior battery shots with 4 extra CD as both of these, all of these guns unload into them just at long range, 2 inches out, 12-pounders, just a little bit short. So one of the French guns or batteries takes a fatigue casualty, which is just fantastic. They are able to inflict 4 casualties on this battery. We will get a bounce through attempt also into this garrison. And also the British guns will not be able to do assault fire this turn because now they have 4 casualties. So that was actually pretty clutch. The garrison in Wellington's headquarters suffers a casualty as cannonballs rip into their fortifications. 3rd Brigade's guns, 8-pounders, will fire across a weak barrage against the British guns on the opposite hill. Will be a chance for bounce through into British line right there. Those British guns will suffer a casualty. These French guns won't be able to reach the British guns up on the hill, so they're going to fire into the Highlanders. We're going to light into the Black Watch and then get bounced through into the Cameron Highlanders at effective range. Each of those battalions suffer 1 casualty. And I totally forgot to do the discipline check over here on that British battery that took 4 casualties. Those gentlemen go unformed, so that could be a mess. Final French batteries will fire straight ahead into the Black Watch as well. Try to maximize casualties. Just outside of canister range, they will be bounced through. The Black Watch shudders under that blast. They go up to 3 casualties. They're going to take a discipline check. The Cameron Highlanders go up to 2 casualties. Black Watch goes unformed after getting hammered by cannonballs. They're trying to reform their ranks. The British 6-pounders elevated on the hill, firing down at range at these French guns. Will be a weak, I think it's an inferior artillery shot. 7th Brigade takes a battery takes a casualty there. The bounce through does not affect this attack column. Next British battery firing straight ahead at these elevated French guns here. Inferior blast. These guys are just a little over 3 inches, so there's no bounce through here. They inflict 1 casualty and a discipline check on that battery. That close to Napoleon, they pass. No way they're going to crack like an egg. The British artillery brigade, the corps brigade, sorry, are going to fire at the French. Let me check if let me see if they're in range. Hang on. Oh, they're elevated, so yeah, they're going to be firing. They're in range. It'll be a weak barrage. It'll be 2 of them, and yeah, no one's in range for bounce through. Just trying to suppress those De Mons Corps Artillery Brigade. One of those British guns inflicts 1 casualty on themselves and 1 on the French battery to the left. The final battery to fire will be the Russian-Austrian battery firing down the hill at these gentlemen here. Long range. Both battalions suffer 1 casualty. Alright, and that'll end turn 1. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? Alright, we got cotton balls out here, we got shooting. It's starting to look like a battle. Still haven't had any volley fire yet, no charges, no hand to hand, but it's only turn 1. But alright, realistic or not, it's always fun on the old Napoleonic battlefield, unless you're one of these little guys. We'll see you in turn 2. Be right back. Alright, time to do Napoleon's turn 2 corps orders. Wow, too bad that wasn't shooting or something. Every single one of those was a 6 and a 5. That was beautiful. He gets them all. Lord Wellington is up now. Let's see what he can do, my friend. He misses 1, but he does have a corps adjutant, so let's re-roll that. Wellington also is able to capture all 4 of his corps orders. Let's move on to ADCs, and we'll start with Ney. He's got 5 rolls. He really boned that one. Oh, that's not really an option. Napoleon's immediately going to get involved and give him a 3rd one. No pressure on Soult. He's got 6 rolls. Not good. Soult gets 3 as well. Alright, going across the battlefield. We'll try Uxbridge. He'll have 6 rolls. Where's he at? There he is. It's one of those days where I like rolling 1s. He boots it as well. Wellington gives him his extra ADC. The red dice is spent, and he ends up with 3 ADCs. We'll go down to Picton. Alright, let's see if one of these divisional commanders can do something good. So far, everyone else has hosed it up. It's all about the umbrella, baby. He gets 5 ADCs, doing good. With his 3 ADCs, Ney's going to put 2 of them on Mazarni with a forwards tasking. They'll be changing formation in line and then using the forwards tasking to try to move in behind those gentlemen, supporting the right. And then General Brew on 5th Brigade, just has a reroll ADC. Once again, I will include the Bold Brigadier dice and the rerolls in the initial roll. Ney will end up with 2 hesitant brigades out of his 5, as General Amiel and General Clouseau both are struggling with what they're supposed to do with their lives. Soult's putting all of his love into Damon with a artillery assault, a reroll, and a caisson for both guns to go buck wild. Everyone else kind of on their own. There are a couple bold brigadiers out here, though. Earl of Uxbridge puts all of his 3 ADCs onto Hawker's brigade. They will be going artillery assault. He's also spent a caisson so they can do double guns. Everyone else is on their own. Both Carmichael and Pack are bold brigadier commanders. General Picton had 5 ADCs to work with. He's going to go hard on his left and give a forwards order to von Steinmetz, and then also one to Semeneski, and they will, and also a reroll to von Steinmetz. So, trying to get both of the Russians and Prussians over the top into this French line as quickly as possible before they have a chance to reinforce. Semenovich and the, I pronounced his name wrong last time, sorry, and the Russian brigade do not receive their ADC, gets picked off on the way, bring them the message. About to hand it to him, he gets hit by a cannonball. And it's illegible. And he's kind of like, got his arms up, shoulders up in the air going, what the heck am I supposed to do? So they are hesitant. Everything else on the coalition line is moving forward. Wellington has 1 hesitant brigade in each division, so he's fine for initiative. Napoleon will be rolling 3 dice, taking the lowest 2 because of Ney kind of screwed up. Napoleon don't care. Give him 16 dice. He'll still take the initiative. He's yeah. He's like, they're not making a movie called Wellington. It's only that Napoleon movie. Yeah, that sucked. So maybe that's not a good thing. All right, so the French retain the initiative somehow. Wellington had his chance there, and we'll go on into. Let me see if anyone's in range for charges. I don't think they are. All right, no charges. We'll start with movement with the French right. Mazarini's gentlemen will use their movement to change into line formation, and then forwards tasking. We'll see how far they go ahead. Alright, movement's going along quite well. Just takes a minute. I'm just going to do a recap at the end. Otherwise, yeah, it's just a lot. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do these on the battle report. We'll see what von Steinmetz gets for a movement bonus from his forwards tasking. On top of the 9 inches, his columns will go anyway. Alright, the end of the movement phase. Of course, this brigade was hesitant, so they held still. These gentlemen filled in nicely. We now have 2 full ranks. The Napoleon is very pleased with his... it was almost a good thing they didn't move. I probably would have wanted to go forwards, but now I just don't have to worry about it. The Austrian-Prussian brigade under von Steinmetz flies over the ridgeline. They're on their way down, really seeing the negative impact of the Russian brigade failing their orders. Semenovich struggling, wanted to go forward, but just didn't have those. Was kind of a little nervous. Just got here. Probably they sent it to him in the wrong language. didn't understand what was going on. The guard moving in still. The guard skirmishers kind of flushing out, just kind of covering that hole. This attack continues to go forward. This brew going in almost unsupported. Not too, starting to have second thoughts about this, but might be a little bit too late. British are just getting ready to start unloading on him. These gentlemen held still. Started a little secondary advance because the British didn't want to have the same problem the French have with an unsupported attack. So as the Highland Brigade advanced of the Guard Brigade, kind of using them as cannon fodder, unfortunately, the Hanoverian Brigade has passed through the King's German Legion, and they're out front to take some of the hits. Sorry guys, all you Hanoverians, I love you. The Highland Brigade, Black Watch reformed, did not move. So did the Argyle Highlanders. They sat still. We had a passing of lines as the second line moved to the front. Guard kept pace, maybe a little less pace because they didn't get the biggest move they wanted, because the Black Watch and the Argyleshires held still. Italians move forward. They're going to be in volley range over here attacking the hill. It's good stuff. And we're in a good place here. I'm excited. My wife's texting me. She's like, do something for me, honey. All right. I might have to take a pause so I can go do things for her, and then we'll launch the attack. Oh, Savinovich, you can do better, baby. He's anxious. He doesn't know what's going on in Ukraine. Okay. All right. We'll see you in be skirmish shooting, correct? All right. Keep saying these things out loud so you guys can go, no, Steve. At the 45-minute mark, you hosed that up completely, and at the 46-minute mark and the 47-minute mark. All right. See you in a second. French skirmishers from 1st Brigade. It will engage the Jaegers of the Prussian and Austrian Brigade. All right. So there's 4 bases, 5 shots. Jaegers suffer 1 casualty. Not too concerning. Moving along down the line. French skirmishers of Bruce Brigade will fire 5 shots at the British skirmishers. Just like that, 1 skirmish base blown away for the British. They're down to 3. They have 1 extra casualty on one of their remaining stuff. All right, first blood. French voltigeurs in the center firing 6 shots at their counterparts. Those gentlemen obviously didn't eat their Wheaties this morning. Those rounds just go all over the place. No effect. Grenier's skirmishers of 2nd Brigade fire into the Highland skirmish line. They inflict 1 casualty on those Highlanders, removing a skirmish base. All right, so we got some effects going on. That's the end of the French coalition shooting. Here comes the 7th Coalition returning fire. We'll go ahead and start with the Highlanders. They'll have 4 shots back at their counterparts. They inflict a 2nd casualty on the French. And but yeah, they're moving somewhere. I don't know who's going to win this one. The riflemen of the King's German Legion firing 6 shots back at the French. French lose a skirmish base there. Going over here to the which brigade is this? Sorry about that. I'm kind of have to look here. I don't even know. The 5th Brigade. Sorry about that. Under Johnstone, right? Yep, he is going to, he's down to 3 skirmish bases, so look at 5 shots at the French. They blow away a French skirmish base. That's, yeah, it's getting brutal now. We've lost a few guys. It's getting kind of cool. All right, and I think we're down to the Jaegers. I don't know if Jaegers have rifles. I feel like the 7th Coalition has plenty of advantage, so I'm just going to consider them muskets. These guys will get 6 shots anyway. They're a large skirmish screen. And they inflict 1 casualty on the French voltigeurs. All right, that's the end of skirmish fire. Moving on to artillery. Far right, this French artillery battery is going to fire at that Prussian infantry unit crossing over the ridge. Actually, they will not. They can only shoot out to 24 inches because they are in a hesitant brigade, so those guns go silent into confusion. They probably loaded the cannonballs incorrectly or something. They're trying to get their act together. No firing from the right. Those Prussians are super psyched. These guys will fire an effective range blast with bounce through into the Queen zone. The second suffer a second casualty while a bounce through goes through and decapitates a couple of the guys in the 88, the Colonel Rangers. So they've got one and we've got two up front. Firing double artillery assault into the 5th Brigade's battery. Trying to finish them off, make them a non-factor. They did reform in the movement phase, so they're going to be, if they do survive this, they'll be firing even more terribly. These are both weak, what are they called? Barrages. But they do have bounce through into the fortification behind them. I guess Dumont did not appreciate me talking smack about him before this battle. He gets hammers away. They're up to 7 casualties on that battery. Bounce through causes 2 more casualties into the garrison next to Wellington. Wellington is splattered with body parts. We're going to get a destiny roll, and that battery for 5th Brigade for the British is now worn up to 7 casualties. They also have a discipline check too, so that's just a triple nightmare for those guys. Alright, they are able to pass the discipline check. They keep it together. That's great. That's some they just kind of go in the extra mile as they get hammered. Now here comes the destiny roll. Holy cow, Dumont gets pumped. He becomes a bold brigadier for the rest of the game now, so he's awesome. They recover 1 casualty, so the battery on the right no longer has any casualties. And wow, what a series of events. It's not looking good up there for the home team. Alright, effective range, you can basically, if you're artillery, you can pick wherever you shoot at. So they're going to fire case shot, or sorry, I'm thinking a different game. They're going to fire ball basically at effective range into these, the Cameron Highlanders with bounce through into the Black Watch behind them. Cameron Highlanders up to 3 casualties. The Black Watch are psyched that the bouncing cannonballs go flying over their lines. Yes. Second French gun on the hill here. I don't think those guns can depress that much. Shooting downhill doesn't feel right. I feel like that would, maybe if they were pointing downhill, but these guys can't go up and down like too much, I don't think. So that feels kind of ridiculous. So we're going to fire a solid shot at the Hanoverians at effective range. Field Battalion from Bremen takes 1 casualty. No bounce through into the KGL, who will usually just get nailed in all these battles, so I'm kind of glad for them. Oh, I'm drooling a little bit. Wow. Yay! Final French guns unloading into the Cameron Highlanders. I gotta check the range, see if it's in canister. 2 inches out of close range, and we'll get bounced through into the Black Watch. Both Highland battalions go up to 4 casualties. That's the end of French artillery going over to the 7th Coalition. They need some serious blowing away here. Get back at the Frenchies. We gotta suppress those French guns. Long range shot, inferior, shooting away at those gentlemen. We'll be bounced through into that French attack column. The cannonballs miss the artillery, but they do inflict some casualties on 4th Battalion of the 70th. So a little bit of effect, but not what they wanted. These guns are going to fire straight across at those French guns there, trying to pound them into the ground. No effect on those gentlemen. Oh, come on now. Moving over to the British Corps Artillery Brigade with artillery assault on both guns. They need to take Domon out. He's getting too hot, which no words like that have ever been uttered in 1815. So here we go. And I just remembered now, I forgot to do the assault fire dice for Domon against the 5th Brigade's artillery. So those guys are going to get more after this. Domon's battery on the left is up to 3 casualties, and his starboard battery is up to 2. Sorry, show my Navy stuff there. Starboard section standing fast. All right, jumping back into TARDIS. I owe 4 assault casualty dice more on these guys. That could have been it. Terrible dice rolling. They're up to 8. 2 more and they are toast. They'll disperse. These guys will get downsized 1 because now they are worn. So they're just going to go ahead and switch to the effective range shot against this attack column and blast them. It'll still be an inferior barrage. Nothing's going right for the gunners of the 5th Brigade. They're now up to 9 casualties. They're 1 away from dispersing. Russian artillery and Austrian guns firing long range at those guys. They'll get bounced through. And those are some excited French as that shot goes right over their heads. Holy cow, it's Operation Rolling Thunder. Volley fire. 2 Italian brigades firing into their British counterparts. Let's see what can happen here. Ooh-wee. The Italians did move, so that'll affect them a little bit for both of their shooting. The British will be unaffected by that, and the British are drilled, so they're going to get the extra combat dice for each volley. All right, here come the 1st Italian battalion. Italians choke under the pressure and get fire discipline. Oh! All right, 2nd Italian. These green dice, I'm trying to use it just for them. Italians inflict 1 casualty on the 69th, who will return the favor with the first solid British volley. Here it comes, with the extra casualty dice for being drilled. 1st Battalion, 4th Infantry Regiment suffers 2 hits from those British volley. Sliding on over, here comes another volley. Definite missed opportunity as the 40th only does 1 casualty on those Italians that have fire discipline. Okay, and that'll end turn 2. It's screaming along. Oh my gosh, I love this game. All right, see you in turn 3. It's getting, I'll just be nuts from now on. Let's do Napoleon's Corps Orders. He's going to use his Corps Adjutant to re-roll the 1. Napoleon locks in all 4 Corps Orders for the French. Those 3 1s, Wellington can only pick 1 of them to re-roll. He's going to re-roll the blue dice just in case he has to ride the line. Wow, that's terrible. Alright, so only thing Wellington could do is give an ADC this turn. ADC availability for Ney. He gets 3, which kind of sucks. Alright, let's see what Soult can do. Alright, Soult gets 5, not bad. Let's go over to the Earl of Uxbridge, see what he can do. With that double 6, he gets a 6 ADCs. That's fantastic for the right wing. And finally, Picton. Who totally chokes and gets a 2. I feel like it's a little bit too early for a C&C command, but I could be wrong. But let's go ahead, and Wellington's going to give up his ADC and get Picton up to 3 and see if he can work with that. Napoleon's going to use the white die to release both of his core caissons and give them both to Soult. So now Soult is reloaded with 2 more and can keep Domon on fire. Now he's putting everything into General Brew, infantry assault, glory, and a reroll as he goes in, probably against the second. Oh boy, here we go. Our first, see if we can pull a charge off. Alright, let's see who's active. Ney's brigades are marked. Let's see what they can do. Let's just kind of pan into the right here. Okay. Ney hits a home run. Everything's active. Oh yeah, baby. He's going back to the glory days. Let's see what Brew can do. He might let us all down here. Alright, Soult is going to put, this kind of pays off the Domon, got that bold brigadier commander. The core artillery battery is going to go artillery assault. They don't need to have a reroll because they have 1 tasking, so they get the automatic reroll with the bold brigadier. And then he puts his last 3 as infantry assault and glory, plus a reroll on Jamin as the Italians are going to try to steamroll uphill into the British lines. Alright, everybody else is rolling 2 dice except for Peugeot and Grenier. Alright, see how they guys do. Unfortunately for Napoleon, those 2 gentlemen that only had 1 dice each to roll both failed. So Grenier and Peugeot, both. They're not really part of the tactical plan that he was thinking of, but still, that's going to hurt him on initiative. Uxbridge had 6 ADCs. He puts a reroll up here on General Stewart, trying to keep his guns from firing out to long range, try to keep the pressure on. Does the huge investment with the spending his last caisson and the artillery assault and the reroll over here on Hawker. So that gets him up to 4. Then trying to maximize the firepower with the Highland Brigade, putting a skirmish tasking and a reroll on Pack. I forgot, Pack is a bold brigadier, so he doesn't need the reroll. We'll just put it on a different brigade just to prevent any kind of, hopefully, hesitance. Put it on Ponsonby, just for fun. Everyone's going to be throwing 2 dice except for Halkett up here on the British right, about to get hit by the Italians. Just so you know, GDA2, there is no punishment for being hesitant in the hand-to-hand and charge phase. I launched one of the red dice out of Optimus Prime's boot there. I totally missed. That's like a pretty decent sized hole and I missed that. It's not good. Everything is active for the Earl of Uxbridge. That's awesome. Picton only had 3 ADCs to work with. He's got to get the Russians into this fight on the left. That was supposed to be, that's what the channel members wanted, was a huge allied attack on the left of the coalition lines, and I've just failed. Well, I haven't failed. Semenovsky, whatever his name is, has failed. Semenovich. Probably because I'm pronouncing his name wrong every other turn. Alright, so he's got to get in here and attack. So he's got to do a forwards tasking, he's got to re-roll. That's all 3 of his ADCs. The rest of these guys are going to be flying blind. Let's see what happens. Holy cow, Picton totally, I think he like spilled his ink on his desk. 4 of his brigades go hesitant. I know you get, I gotta read about the rules here on Corps Initiative, because that could be a, oh, that could be bad. Alright, let's check it out. Napoleon, the tactical genius, wins again. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, charge phase. So the 3 battalions from the 27th charged in, 2 side supports. British are going, the Queens are going to, Queen's Zone, excuse me, is going to get supported by these gentlemen. These gentlemen. They're going to probably save themselves for re-rolls. We'll get closing fire from the skirmish line over here, which belongs to this trailing battalion or brigade. And in the movement phase, the remaining French brigade is going to shake out into line and then fire straight ahead. So that's what's happening with the old, yeah, they couldn't join the hand-to-hand because they weren't in the position to come in. If they would have been coming in with, you know, you just keep your alignment. So there was no point because they can only have supports on the left, right, or rear. They didn't have, they were all in a column abreast, like in a massed column. Over here, the 1st Battalion of the 4th Italian Infantry Regiment goes in, charging against the British. I think that's the 69th, right? And these gentlemen with fire support issues are supporting, as well as these gentlemen. These guys did not get pulled in because they couldn't support. There's also glory, so the brigade commander will be involved as well. So those are the 2 French charges. Starting with closing fire, these 4 skirmish screens will fire 6 dice. They're probably shooting at this flank battalion here. They inflict 1 casualty to that French skirmish line. I sprayed over the chart. This charge, I think they get the fire on the way in, but I might be getting my rule systems confused. Let me just double check so I don't totally screw that up. All right, the 2nd is going to unload on these French as they come in. They're going to get 1 CD because they're drilled and 1 CD because they're being charged by infantry in column. So let's hope they wear them out. If they can do so many casualties, they can cause some issues. Plus, if they can force a discipline test, even better. Must have panicked there. Just crack off a couple shots and do 1 casualty. Very underperforms there. Let's see how they do in the charge now. Both sides have 2 supports. All right, both sides are rolling 2d6 and they both have 2 rerolls. Oh, a 9 versus a 10. Let me see what that is. All right, right there is a halt and fire, which, I don't know. Let me think about this. Wow. All right, French have got to try to go for it. They need to get even or at least 1 above. They're going to re-roll their 4. I'm having buyer's remorse. That's the first re-roll. Now I need a second one. It's a total butt kicking right now. Total hose up. Okay. Felt like I had to go for it, but oh well. I got my butt kicked. French, sorry. Well, technically, I forgot. I did screw up. Big shock. We've got a glory involved, so they go up. They get an extra reroll with that. So let's see if I can beat a 1. Oh, do you believe in miracles? Went from like utter defeat to like I gotta go move back 9 inches and take some combat dice for every damage, you know. Okay, so the French now with the glory thankfully got 1 extra reroll because they're considered 1 grade above the British, so they're gonna win. The British can't afford to go anymore, you know. I'm gonna roll crap. I bet I will. Beating a 4 and beating 5s are not good odds, especially with me rolling. I got lucky there, and I think I burned it all up. So we're gonna get Elan, I believe, right? They'll attack and close and fight with Elan versus the British now that are unformed. I just can't re-roll anything else. I really want to, but I know what's gonna happen. I might do it just for fun off camera. All right, so that is done. All right, let's do the other hand-to-hand. So our charge. The 69th is going to unload. They're only going to get 1 extra CD because the Italians aren't in attack column. The 69th put a fire discipline on themselves. They kind of panic. They do inflict 1 casualty on the Italians with the combat dice. So they're up to 3 casualties, and now they will fight the charge. The Italians have 3 rerolls because they have 2 supports plus glory, while the 69th will have 2 rerolls. Well, let's start the rerolls for the Italians. They get a 3, and the 69th is sitting at an 8 right now. The Italians are up to a 4. Keep on going, baby. Not going well. They must have put too much garlic on last night. They're up to 5 now, so all right, I'm gonna re-roll the 2, leave the 3 there, just try to increase the odds of actually doing something better. Punt. The British are gonna go for the ultimate butt kick, and they're gonna re-roll the 3. That's fate telling me not to try anymore, but I'm gonna try one more time. They end up with 9. The Italians end up with 5. Oh. All right, the 69th throws the Italians back. I marked all 3 battalions that were involved with a combat dice. Those Italians that led the charge are unformed and have fallen back. And now each of these battalions takes a combat dice damage. Both of the supporting battalions both suffer a casualty. 2nd Battalion, 4th is up to 2, and that's the first casualty for 3rd Battalion. Alright, that ends the charge phase. Now we go on, where do we go next? Movement phase. For the forces of Napoleon, they've turned the Russian brigades' hesitancy or struggles into a offensive now, as they've totally doubled the size of their flank. And now they're closing in on the Prussians, who are kind of trapped on the edge of this hill. As long as they're elevated, they can still get hit by artillery, and they can get hit by volley fire from these gentlemen who have displaced all their skirmishers now that they've closed within 6 inches of each other. So it's kind of ugly. Let's see what the Prussians are made of tough stuff, so they should be able to hopefully hold out. Over here, the French Guard continues to move into the area. They've filled up that hole. The French cavalry is just chilling, having a good time. As I said earlier, this remaining battalion that wasn't involved in the charge has moved out into line. They'll engage the British. I'll probably forget, but I have to remember this British battalion cannot engage because they were in part of the charge. So they can't shoot, I believe. These gentlemen have held still. Over here, those French have held still. I think the 9th Leger might have to do something pretty soon. I'm kind of content to let this happen, but now I'm not happy not having them in combat. But it's good to have a reserve too. So, and the Fictional Legion has kind of closed in a little bit behind the Italians. Campy's worried about Jamin after seeing them get pushed back from the hill attack, so he's getting himself ready to take his place if he continues to have no success cracking the British lines. Right, the Russians did pass their order, so we got a forwards, and let's see what happens here. Russians take off like they're shot out of a cannon, or basically on the front line immediately. Their artillery used the forwards tasking to move off to the side over there. They're going to start doing enfilading fire across the British lines. They won't be able to shoot this turn. Russian skirmishers are I'm going to say they're Russian. I owe them one more skirmisher, so I'm going to reach into the dead pile and put a 5th guy out here. I'm just going to treat them like they have muskets and not being British riflemen. They'll be in range to start shooting as well. That changes the dynamics of that immediately. Okay, I left the forwards tab on top of this artillery piece just as a reminder so I don't start shooting right away with these guys. I had big plans over here for the for the British, but Picton's utter command and control failure, spilling ink all over his map, really kind of hosed me. Wanted to keep advancing these guys, but this is where it got crazy. Guard went left, Highlanders went right. You've got cavalry moving up behind them, so we've got a little cool action here going on. I think it's neat. Let's see if it works though. That'll be the big question, as the British are starting to wrap and outflank the Italians and possibly the Swiss and the Fictional Legion. We'll see. Also, the Guard is making a beeline for Napoleon. He better do something. Unfortunately, his own Imperial Guard is way the heck over here. The 9th Leger could help, but they're bogged down in the rear with the gear. So, outsmarted myself. I love it. Just thought of it a minute ago. Wanted to move these gentlemen forward to have a full attack on the three, basically the three woman in, or whatever, the three lady in, but wasn't able to pull it off. It's okay. We're going to hammer away with artillery, but most of it probably won't be in range because of all these hesitants. But that's the end of the movement phase. Moving along. I have to go to the middle of the battlefield to get some French skirmishers. I think we have 4 bases here. Yep, firing at the British. They were only able to inflict 1 casualty on those British, taking them up to 2 casualties on one of their bases. Next up, these French skirmishers are going to fire at the Highland skirmish line. They've got 5 shots. That's kind of an awesome picture there. Oh, wow. Nuts! They do 1 casualty against the Highland Brigade's skirmish line. And that's it for the French skirmishers. So let's see how many British or coalition skirmishers get to shoot. We've got a skirmish tasking with the Highlanders. They're going to fire at the French skirmishers here in front of them. They have 3 bases, so they get 4 shots, plus an extra 2 dice for the skirmish tasking. The Guard skirmish line is going to fire at this artillery battery. They have 5 bases, so yeah, it's going to be 7 shots. Wow, that could be the worst shooting ever. They would be recalled to England and shot, probably put over into the British Navy. And not to fire cannons. They can just do the rigging or kind of scrape stuff off the bottom of the hull. We've got 4 skirmish bases here firing at the French. And barnacles was the word I was looking for. I've had my sea legs have been gone too long. I'm getting rusty. All right, just 1 extra casualty on those guys. They're up to 2. Not the British skirmishers aren't living up to the rifles they're supposed to be. That was the King's German Legion too. But gosh, they should have been doing better. Those skirmishers already fired in the charge phase, so I think we just go over to the Russians, firing their first volley against these Frenchmen over here. We're not going to count them as rifles, so they're going to get 6 shots. Russians putting on a clinic, showing the British how to shoot. Bam! 2 casualties against that French line there. Nice job. All right, let's go on to artillery. Prussians are still elevated, so these guys can fire their artillery. Well, actually, they can even get a better shot. They're going to fire their straight ahead at the Russians. Welcome to the party, baby. Fire at the center battalion. Boom chakalaka. With them elevated, they can fire right over the heads of the French, sorry. Hit them as they come down the hill. Effective range, barely. Shooting at a column with bounce through. Big time missed opportunity there as they just do 1 casualty to that Russian unit. This battery's going to fire at the elevated British guns that are 1 away from being bye-bye. Going to be a long-range shot. The bounce through will go into the Royal Welsh Fusiliers. 5th Brigade loses their artillery and they falter. So that'll be a check next turn. Oh, no bueno. It's going to cause some distress, and I think that's the King's German Legion too. Going to cause some stress there for Johnstone, I think he's in charge of that. All right, good shooting by the French. Moving over to the Corps Artillery Brigade. They're going to unload on a new target. They're going to try to crush the Hanoverians with their 12-pounders, bounce through into the KGL. This is going to be horrific. Both guns are on artillery assault. Dumont hammers the the Hanoverians field battalion from Bremen with 4 casualties, and then 1 bounces through and does the 2nd Battalion of the KGL. Still, no discipline check. Could have been a lot worse. I'm going to stick with the same rule here where these guys can't fire straight down. So they're going to fire into that field battalion right there from Hanover. Hanoverians luck out, just take 1 casualty. No bounce through. The rear cannon there, or battery, is going to fire down into the Highland Brigade. Probably the shot that makes the most sense is against the Black Watch, unfortunately for them. There will be bounce through into that Hanoverian field battalion up on the ridge. French weren't able to press their guns enough to hit the Highlanders. The effort gives themselves a fatigue casualty. The round goes long and does a hit on the Hanoverians and causes 1 casualty. Final French battery is going to fire canister fire. We'll catch the skirmish line into the Cameron Highlanders. French gunners panicking as the British infantry closes in on them. They suffer a fatigue casualty. They do put 1 casualty onto the skirmish line, and 1 goes into the Cameron Highlanders, taking them up to 5. That's the end of French artillery, going on to British and coalition guns. Battery on the hill, long-range elevated shot across the valley at those French gunners up there. I gotta pay attention, make sure I don't do any long-range shots on all these hesitant brigades. Bounce through, we'll go into the garrison. We're able to sail that cannonball into the Three Lady Inn and do a casualty on that garrison in there, but next to Napoleon. Hang on, let me see if these guys are hesitant. And nothing's in range. This battery will not fire and go silent from 4th Brigade. Alright, going after Domon. British, both batteries on our artillery assault, trying to wipe them out. That did not go as well as planned, as the portside battery takes a fatigue casualty. They got 1 casualty, and they also inflict 1 casualty on each of the French guns. One of the French batteries is at 4 casualties now, so they will not be able to assault fire anymore. And the final battery for the coalition, I put that marker on it and actually remembered. I'm really proud of myself. The Russo-Austrian battery sliding to the right, getting ready to do some enfilading fire across the line. Alright, it's volley fire. This French line is going to fire at those Prussians on the hill. It's because they're a juicier target. They were able to inflict a 3rd casualty on them. And then the other one... Sorry, I've got a text there. I was reading it from work. The other French battalion is going to fire at that... I can't remember the name of it, but that unit with the blue flag there. 1st Battalion, 7th West Prussian. They will get a casualty dice firing into an attack column within 3 inches. They inflict 3 casualties on the Prussians. Both of those attack columns both have 3 casualties. That might be it for the French. Oh wait, hang on, I got this one over here. I almost got excited and like jerked the camera to the right real quick. These gentlemen can fire an unopposed shot at the British right there. The 28th suffers 2 casualties. They cannot return fire because they were involved in the charge and they supported. All 5 of these Prussian and Austrian line battalions can all fire at that French column there. We'll get 5 weak volleys, just 1 CD for each of them. They're only able to inflict 1 casualty on 2nd Battalion, 36th. And I think we have 1 more volley down there from a Highland Brigade. Little payback. The Cameron Highlanders are going to fire at this artillery that's been shooting them the entire game. The old 6, they did move, so that stops it. Just 3 casualties and a discipline check on this artillery battery. They fail that and go unformed. Now we get the destiny roll for the Highlanders after they roll a double 6. They recover a casualty. They get a free move, but why? It's kind of a mess already, so they're going to sit there. They go down to 4 casualties, which is always good. That ends the shooting. We've just got the hand-to-hand with the lawn over here, the melee. And yeah, that should be a blast. Then we'll be done with turn 3. All right, it's going to be 7 dice for the French because they have lawn and glory versus the unformed British that have 4 dice. Hard-fought victory by the French. The second falls back unformed, and they're up to 6 casualties. They unform the battalion in front of them or behind them as they pass through them because they were within 3 inches. French are up to 5 casualties with the victory. So that was kind of a beating for both of them. And that's Warren for the Queen Zone, so they're in trouble too. And that'll end turn 3. Awesome. Okay. Well, it's just awesome. We'll see you turn 4 in a second. You guys are great. Time for core orders. Turn 4 for Napoleon. Napoleon gets them all. Let's see what the Duke of Boots can do. Your boy misses the black dice, but he gets everything else. Can't re-roll 2s. Sorry about that. ADC availability for Ney. He rocks out 4 of them. Let's go move over to Soult, see how he does. Soult gets 3 ADC. Napoleon go ahead and gives him the red dice up to 4. ADC availability for the Earl of Uxbridge. He only gets 2. I'm going to think about that for a minute. See how Picton can do any better here. Uxbridge is going to use one of his chain of command dice. Haha! Great game though. He's going to play one of his CNC commands and play Chief of Staff. So he'll re-roll 4 of those plus gain an additional 2, and he's down to 1 CNC command. You can only play 1 Chief of Staff per game, so mark that off and down to 1. So he goes up to 7 ADCs now. Wellington's going to play his white dice and give both of his caissons to General Picton. Sorry, Uxbridge. Alright, Ney's going to try to do forwards tasking on the guard and a glory and an infantry assault over here on General Clouseau. Mazarin, the rear of the right-hand side, goes hesitant. All the rest of the brigades are active. Soult is putting everything into Grenier. He's going to do a infantry assault and a forwards and a reroll. Everyone else is just going to have to do the best they can. Peugeot and Jamin both go hesitant. Peugeot for the second turn. Oh, too close to Napoleon, too much pressure. And that'll be a -1 or an extra die for initiative for Napoleon. Alright, Uxbridge is going to get it. He's going to send in Halkett's 1st Brigade into this bewildered Italians that are struggling coming up the hill. He's going to hit, well, part of the Italians. The other part of the Italians, he's also going to send in Pack into the other side of them. And they're going to get an infantry assault. They also have a glory on Halkett. And then if you come all the way over here to Hawker, he's going to get an artillery assault with a reroll. And he spent the caisson to fire both batteries. And that's all 7 ADCs. Do an infantry assault on von Steinmetz with a reroll. Divisional morale and ADC on Johnstone's faltering brigade, and then a skirmish tasking with a reroll over on General Adam. Skirmish? Okay, skirmish tasking is what I meant to say if I didn't say it. Sorry about that. Alright, the best Johnstone could do was get a wavering. So he'll stay faltering. Everything will go unformed, and they take some casualty dice. Alright, I've marked all 4 of his battalions. Let's see, they all take 2 casualty dice. The rest of the division is following orders. Johnstone's battalion, brigade, the 2nd has got 8 casualties. 88th has got 2. The 28th has got 4. And the 27th has 2. And they're all 4 of them are unformed and remain faltering. Alright, both commanders will be rolling 3 dice. Napoleon, because he has one division has 2 hesitant brigades, and Wellington's rolling an extra dice because he has 1 faltering brigade. This is going to be clutch because both of these guys have infantry assault, so whoever wins initiative is going to determine who's in this hand-to-hand. Napoleon wins again! Oh, Wellington is upset. Sorry, my friend. Just not quite pulling it off. Alright, let's charge phase. Oh, I forgot this will also hose up the Black Watch's charge, because now they're going to get hit by these guys instead. Oh, General Grenier for the victory. Let's see what his forwards bonus is for his charge. I thought I read somewhere that if you do a forwards tasking with a charge, it's just 1d6 added. But then when I read somewhere else, it said 2d6 like normal, so maybe that's a rules error or maybe that's a brain error. Could be either one. Could be both. 2nd Battalion 70th goes in and slams into the Gordon Highlanders. Woo, yeah, baby, fully supported. Gotta love it. Alright, let's do the other charge. Clouseau leads in a fully supported attack against the 2nd Battalion 70th Prussian Silesian Infantry Regiment with all of his people. Nice. There's going to be some closing fire from some of the attack columns to the right that can't support in these Russian skirmishers. Oh, yes, baby. Nice attack. In this hand-to-hand between the Highland Brigade and the 70th, at least part of the Highland Brigade, the French will get 3 rerolls for their 3 supports. They do not have glory on this one. The Gordon Highlanders are supported by 1 battalion, and they are higher troop grade, so they'll get 2 rerolls. Ten versus 8 on the initial class. The Highlanders will go ahead and use their first reroll. Before I do that, I'm going to do the closing fire. Almost forgot. So the Highlanders will get the regular strong volley plus discipline plus attack column, so 2 combat dice. They're going to take away one of their rerolls already. 4 casualties knocks away one of them, and they need a discipline check as the Highlanders blast these fellas. They fail that, so now they're unformed, and they took 4 casualties, so they lose 2 of their rerolls, so the French are down to 1. Back to our regular scheduled program, the Gordon Highlanders are going to use their first reroll to try to beat that 3. Of course, that's the one roll you don't want to have. They can't afford to take a total butt kick, and they're going to go ahead and go unformed and let the French melee with the lawn. Hopefully beat them in the melee at the end of the turn. Over here we'll get closing fire from these 3 flanking attack columns firing at this supporting unit on the left. They'll raise the 3rd Brigade to 3 casualties. Now we'll get closing fire on the right flank from the 5 skirmish bases. Those gentlemen do 1 casualty, raising the 1st battalion to 3 casualties. Now we'll get the closing fire by the this Silesian battalion, or Silesian. Oh gosh, somebody, I'm getting it all wrong. But they'll just get 1 combat dice against these guys, which is kind of sad. Which they la brickshaw. All right, now everyone's rolling 2d6. French will get 3 rerolls. Actually, they'll get 4 because I have glory. And the Prussians will get 1. Prussians are in trouble. Double 1. They're going to definitely use their reroll, try to beat the 1. That's a win by 4 right now. Let's see if we should continue on with this nightmare or just let it end. French are just going to take the win and push these 2 battalions back. Those 2 units retreat. Well, 1 retreats, 1 withdraws behind the Russian infantry unit. Now the unit on the right will take 4 combat dice worth of damage, and the one on the left will take 1. 2nd Battalion 10th gets hammered. They're up to 7 casualties now. They're worn. Oh, horrible. For the first coalition charge, the Cameron Highlanders will hit into this Italian infantry unit, who will align to face them. They'll bring their 1 support with them. The Italians are unformed. I think both. Let me check casualty levels. The Italians have 3, and the Highlanders have 4. And we'll get closing fire from the Italians. That inferior volley does 1 casualty, raises the Cameron Highlanders to 5 casualties. For the hand-to-hand, the Highlanders have 1 support, and they're higher troop grade, so they'll get 2 rerolls. The Italians are unformed with 1 support, so they'll get 0 rerolls. Let me do that again. I think it's different than that. Hang on, I think they actually go up to like 3 dice and take the lowest 2. 1 second. Yep, sorry about that. The Italians will roll 3d6, take the lowest 2, and have 1 reroll. I knew that was wrong. I might have screwed that up earlier, but I can't remember. Four versus 6. The Italians are going to use their 1 reroll here and try to beat a 1. All right, it's tied up. Now the Highlanders are going to start using their 2 rerolls to beat a 2. They'll go ahead and stop right there and win by 4. The Italians are beaten back. The front unit is retreated. The rear unit has become unformed with them as their support. They unform the Swiss Guards as they pass through them. And now we'll get 4 CDs to the front unit and 1 CD to the rear unit. They get 5 casualties on the front unit now. They didn't get 5 more. They got 2 more, sorry. And the rear unit gets 1 casualty. The 40th will attack the 2nd Italian, the 2nd Battalion of the 4th for the Italians. And we'll do some closing fire from the Italians into the 40th. Oh, they load buckshot and just hammer them. And they'll get a destiny roll. Oh man, welcome to the party. Alright, the 40th takes 4 casualties immediately. They got a discipline check, then we got a destiny roll for the Italians. They fail their discipline check and go unformed. Now we got the destiny roll. The Italians recover 1 casualty, go down to 1 now. That was nice. Alright, now we got the charge from an unformed unit that took 4 casualties. So the British will be rolling 4d6. The Italians are rolling 2d6. The British do have glory and 2 supports, so they'll get 3 rerolls. Italians will get 1. Oh, it's 8 and 8 with 2 4s. That's tough for the British, but they're going to use some of their rerolls. See if they can beat 4s, which I always end up rolling on 1 and a 2. All right, they bust a 3, which goes down 1. They got to keep going. Another horrible 3. They got one more time. Oh, they choke. Oh, Italians are winning by 2. Let's see what that does. They'll take that, and the Italians will fight with the lawn. British will also get the advantage of fighting down or being at higher elevations, so they'll get some help there. That almost makes me want to reroll. I'm going to stay there though, because you know I'm going to screw it up and roll under a 3. So only get 1 reroll for the Italians. We're going to hold it, and we'll go on to skirmish shooting. All right, French have got their 4 Voltigeurs in the middle here, firing against the British riflemen from the King's German Legion. And I'm going to totally not do that because it's movement phase. We'll be back, baby. All right, the forward's tasking for the guard. All right, that was a bit of a kooky move. I love it. Russians shook out into line. So they are right there. Prussians already fired during the charge phase. These French shook out into line. The British moved out to the left to support their brothers. That giant hole, they were thinking the guard was going to come through. But no, well, not the guard. Anybody would come through. It was a giant hole there, and they could have come behind the Prussians, so these British came in here to support them. French cavalry on the move up front. Guard did a massive move. They can change formation and move because they are elite. So there they are. Supporting this attack. Closing in on the left side of the King's German Legion, who move forward. These British move forward under Mitchell. These guys are still faltering. The guard advanced up the hill into canister and canister range now of those guns. British cavalry's faltering. These guys charged. These guys charged. Oh, and the 9th Léger moved up, and so did the Vistula Legion and the Swiss. The 1 Vistula Legion passed up the Swiss guards that were unformed because they spent their turn reforming. They threw their skirmishers out to the right. Oh, kind of just go around the battlefield like a drone feed here, so you can kind of give you a minute to incorporate that disaster. Lots of movement, lots of insanity. That's what you like. Definitely love how the guard just came out of nowhere there, and the cavalry's coming up behind them. As the French on the right continue to try to repulse this attack. Okay, now we can go on to the skirmish shooting for the French. These 4 skirmish bases firing at the British skirmishers. 5 shots. 2 casualties on one of those KGL rifle skirmish bases. Over here, 3 French skirmishers firing at the British rifles. They have no effect. British rifles will shoot back at them with 6 shots. They'll inflict 1 casualty on the French as we look across the battlefield. Oh my gosh. We'll go over those KGL skirmishers firing at the French Voltigeurs with 6 shots. They blow away, they do 1 casualty and blow away a skirmish base of the French. They're down to 3 now. Oof. Definitely losing the skirmish battle there. Alright, now the 5 guard skirmishers will fire at the French cannon. They do a casualty there, increasing that battery to 2 casualties. The Scottish had a skirmish tasking, but all of their skirmishers got beat back by getting too close to between hand to hand and everything else. So they lose their skirmish tasking, and that'll be the end of the skirmish part of the firing phase. We'll go on to artillery. This battery's hesitant, but they're going to fire downhill at the Black Watch again. See what they can do at effective range. I forgot, they'll take one casualty. I forgot there will be a bounce through onto that Hanoverian battalion right there. Cannonball slams into the Hanoverians, giving them one more casualty. They're up to 2 now. This battery fires canister into the skirmishers, and that'll go into the guard. Skirmishers take 1 casualty, the guards take 2. The guards will take a elite discipline check, looking for a 5 or more. Oh yeah, they passed that. Good job. These guys will fire a blast. Let's say at the back battalion. I think it's possibly them, but it's a bit too close, so we'll go ahead and shoot at those rear guys right there, and then bounce through into the oh, that's the Royal Welsh Fusiliers. Dumont inflicts 3 casualties on the 29th. No bounce through into the Royal Welsh Fusiliers. Even cannonballs are scared of them. This battery is going to fire at long range. I got to measure this. It's either going. I think it's going. They're going to have to fire against the fortification, I believe. Yeah. You only 1 CD against the baker's house. It's a hell of a baker's house. Let's call it the. It's more of an inn with a lot of hungry people. We're gonna live here because the baker lives here. Just bounces off one of the walls of Les Maisons du Boulanger, and this final French battery will fire at the elevated Russian 1st Battalion right there. Hooking themselves up with a fatigue casualty. Good job. This battery advances some more and unlimbered, so they can't shoot this turn. British main battery gonna fire more at Dumont. Both guns on artillery assault. Dumont's losing the artillery battle here. He's up to 6 and 5. British guns suppressing them nicely. They've been busy as the British have been attacking. They haven't a chance to really counter battery. But Wellington's kept it up like a boss. 4th Brigade's going to counter battery against those guns firing at their skirmishers. That's kind of tight. He's going to rotate left a little bit and fire at that unit there and get bounced through instead. Still a long range. He missed the front battalion, but somehow get a bounce through and hit the line battalion behind him. The 4th Battalion takes a casualty. Final British battalion up on the hill will fire a long-range shot, counter-battery style, against these gentlemen. Well, I forgot to fire these guys for the French. Whoops. To unform, so they reform, they'll be moving, they'll be shooting an inferior volley. I can't remember 5 affects it. 6 is warned for the artillery. It's still canister fire at the Cameron Highlanders, but it is inferior because they moved. They are able to inflict a casualty on themselves, making them worn now, but they put 2 onto the Cameron Highlanders, taking them up to 7, so they're worn as well. Now the artillery shot comes in from the hill at these gentlemen. We'll get bounced through into the 9th Léger. Inferior barrage. Or that misses everything. Alright, artillery is done now. Sorry, I missed that canister shot there. Alright, going on to volley fire. Wow, what a shot. Alright, we got some volley fire in the middle there. A faltering British brigade against the French that moved out into line and the guard closing in. It's our only volley fire. All right, French unloading point blank range into the British, who are unformed and faltering. Oh, I heard a kicking guy while he's down. They did move. They changed formation. That counts as moving. So that causes 3 casualties plus a discipline check and a destiny roll. So they go up. The British go up to 5 casualties. British guys are unformed, so they'll go down to reservists for this. They're looking for 8s to pass this. Yes! British holding out like it's nobody's business. Alright, French destiny roll. It's no effect for the French as they don't have a casualty to recover, so... boring. Okay, next French line battalion. Boom, they just do 1 casualty to the British, up to 5 casualties there. Alright, the Old Guard unloading an elite barrage into the Hanoverians. Ugh. Alright, 2d6 plus 1. Oh, 4 more casualties plus a discipline check on those Hanoverian reservists. Reservists are, the Hanoverians are demoted to the Enfants Perdus, even lower, because they have 8 casualties now. Oh, good luck, gents. That could have gone a lot worse. They are unformed. Oh. And that could be the end of the shooting. Alright, we go into hand to hand. I think we've got a couple of these. But it might help if I shoot the the coalition forces back. Alright, I've got 2 British line battalions firing. Both are unformed. And they're hurting. Alright, neither of these battalions have 6 casualties. They're both at 5. So they're going to fire a weak volley plus a casualty dice for being drilled. Showing some true metal, the 28th unloads a double 6 plus the extra casualty into the French, causing 4 casualties, a discipline check, and a destiny roll for the British. That could get some casualties back here. French were able to keep it together and pass their discipline check after getting rocked. Here's the destiny roll for the British. They get a casualty back going down to 4, and they get a free move, so they'll reform. That's a big move for them. Way to go, baby. 88, they're going to try to do the same thing as they unload into the French with a weak volley. Not everybody can be the 28th. They do 1 casualty on the French. Alright, now we can go into melee. Sorry about that. Alright, the 70th has melee with the lawn against a higher troop grade. Alright, see how this goes. The Highlanders are unformed. There is no glory involved in this bugger. Pretty close. French are rolling 6. British are rolling 5. Alright. Gordon Highlanders lose by 1. They retreat back. Just have their 4 casualties. They unform these gentlemen as they pass through them. The French take the ground, but they now have 7 casualties, and they're unformed. So they're not very combat effective. Let's do the math over here as these 2 battalions slug it out. It's going to be in 5-5 with the Italians having the lawn and attacking uphill, and the British having glory but are unformed. So that's a draw. They're equal troop grades, so the British step back. They both take 4 casualties. The British are up to 8. French are up to 5. British remain unformed. Oh, no one really was the winner there, but that's where we're at. Those guys just beat the heck out of each other. And that'll be the end of a amazing turn 4. Holy cow. So if you're thinking about playing GDA at a club, at a game like this, I went pretty quick, as fast as I could. through this entire turn. I kind of timed it. And that took 2 hours, 53 minutes, and 6 seconds to do one turn. So, yeah. It'd be very difficult to go to a pub and some of these games are like 12, 15 turns. So, yeah, that's a big boy right there. So, just a little bit of food for thought. When you're thinking about playing GDA, and you want to play massive games, just be aware that yeah, you could be investing a large amount of time, and this will probably take me 3 hours to edit this turn. So it's a bunch. All right, turn 5. Core orders, starting with Napoleon. Napoleon rocks all 4. What can Wellington do? Core adjutant for the win for Napoleon. Yes, baby. I mean, for Wellington. Sorry about that. If you didn't notice earlier, Ney is creeping up to the front lines. Trying to get in a hand-to-hand combat or something. All right, here he goes. ADCs for Ney. Soult has moved a little bit, but he's nowhere near where Ney was. All right, Soult rolling 6 ADCs. Let's see if he can get some. Ney got 5, so that's great for him. Got that double 6. Soult gets 4. Let's see what he does with that. Go over to Uxbridge, trying to get 6 or more. Earl's only able to get 3. We'll go over to Picton. Picton's feeling pressure from everywhere. See what he can do, baby. Picton gets 5. Wellington's going to give an ADC to Uxbridge, taking him up to 4. All right, Ney's going to get all crazy. As you can tell, he's already gone from where he was. This guy's like on ADHD medicine or something. Emil is going to get a brigade reroll. We'll see what they do later. I got a plan in my head. Ney's run over here and joined. Is this Clouseau? And done Post of Honor for 2 ADCs. That's up to 3. And then First Brigade's, so that's First Brigade. They're giving their cannons artillery assault. So they're assault fire. So, yeah, that should be fun. Okay. Let's go down to Soult, see if he can do anything as crazy as that. French are pushing on the wing. Soult joins what's left the Jamin's brigade, and he will do Post of Honor. No, it does Now Is Your Time, and he will lead them to glory against the British. Their other remaining ADCs were assigned to General Grenier, who gets infantry assault and a reroll. All right, let's see how Ney does with his commands. Napoleon's going to give his core order to General Grenier for the forwards tasking. The big question is Peugeot. Will he be hesitant for a 3rd turn in a row? All right. Peugeot passes an order. Damon, which makes sense from getting pounded, he goes hesitant. Picton's going to use his first 2 ADCs and use a CNC command to do Stand With Me and just get rid of this faltering entirely. Automatic pass for Johnstone. His last 3, he hooks up Semenovich with Glory, Infantry Assault, and a reroll for the Russian Brigade. Uxbridge is going to give Artillery Assault and Assault Fire and a reroll to Hawker's Brigade. And he has one last one. He's going to give a reroll. Oh gosh, it's got to be these guys. First Brigade up front. They're getting the pressure put on them. Lame. We're gonna do infantry assault with the guard and let them go buck wild. They're not close enough yet. Shoot! Alright, yeah, we'll go a re-roll with 1st Brigade. They're like 8 inches away or something. No! Okay. Alright, let's see how these guys can do. Von Steinmetz is hesitant, and also Stedman over here. Hole right down the center of the coalition line. Oh, the orders get through to the Russians, but they don't quite get these two guys. Let's see if Uxbridge has more luck. He's got a lot of bold brigadiers and rerolls. Only one brigade doesn't have a reroll. Uxbridge has spent all of his caissons and all of Wellington's caissons as he goes artillery assault with his last time with the British main battery. Just Stewart. He's the only one who did not pass. Everyone else did. All right. Time for initiative. English will be, the 7th Coalition will be rolling 3 dice. Napoleon will be rolling 2. Napoleon flips off Wellington. That's 5 in a row he's taken. Wow. On to the charge phase. We'll start off on the right with Ney. Alright, Ney and Clouseau lead this battalion against the Prussians. French are supported by 2. That battalion's out of it. The Austrians will support the Prussians. The Austrian militia can fire, closing fire, but they can't do anything else. The Russians will fire, well, they'll probably keep their skirmishers to fire at that battalion. Doesn't really matter, but we'll probably do that. All right, but since it is post of honor, these guys get to crack off some shots. Sorry, not post of honor. It's now's your time. So they've already healed up their the damage. And then the leading unit can fire 2 additional casualty dice, and remaining brigade close order infantry units fire with an extra 2 casualty dice. Wow. That brigade on the right can actually get the jump on the skirmishers and fire into them before they can even shoot. So that's kind of cool. All right, here we go. Let's start off with the lead unit. All right, they'll fire 2 with the now's your time, and an extra 1 for firing at an attack column. They pound the Prussians for 6 casualties. They will go from fresh to worn immediately. A discipline check. Now they go down a level because they're worn. So they're gonna save as recruits. They're able to pass. That's awesome. Strong work. The Prussians are tough. All right, this 2nd battalion here, they will fire into the Austrian militia with 3 extra combat dice. They pound those reservists for 3 casualties, and then the final brigade will fire into the skirmish line. It'll be an inferior volley because they're firing at skirmishers, but they will get extra combat dice, 2 more. They inflict 4 casualties on those skirmishers, wasting a base, adding 1 casualty to the next base, and then forcing a discipline check. Have to get over a 7. Tough Russians. Passing that discipline check. All right, Prussians firing 1 combat dice. Oh, because they're an attack column. That's it. That sucks. They do put a 2nd casualty as the French as they come on in, and now we'll do the charge. You don't see this much, but they did suffer 6 casualties on their way in. The Prussians did, even though they were the ones who weren't going in. So that was a shocker. Wow. And they're worn. Is that one too? I'm not sure. That'll actually, I think, that'll lower them a troop grade, I think, right? So that'll get an extra reroll for the French. That's right. They get the British. Sorry, the Prussians are going to roll 4, and the French will roll 2. Dang, too bad the Prussians couldn't take the top 2 dice. They got an 11 there, but they get a 3 instead. But their 1 reroll, they're going to roll their 1. We're tied at 7. Prussians are done. French get. Ooh, they got glory and all kinds of stuff. At 3 rerolls. 8-7. Keep on going, baby. Prussians go unformed. French are already fighting with glory. Now they're fighting with Elan, and that'll be in the melee phase. These guys are going to use their forwards tasking given them by Napoleon and see what they can do. The 70th send in a fresh battalion against the Argyle Highlanders, who were unformed when their brethren passed through them earlier. Didn't have time to get to that reform thing. Okay, it's going to be ugly. Still, they will fire inferior volley with... so they get 2... hang on one second. Inferior volley with 2 combat dice. 1 for being drilled and 1 for the attack column coming in and... They pop them with 4 casualties on the way in, which will make an impact on the charge. Nice. Okay. Let's do the charge function. They're both going to be rolling 3 dice because of Highlanders are unformed and the French went in and took 4 casualties on the way in. It's a 5-5 tie, and the Highlanders are 1 troop grade above, so they will get a 1 reroll. French will have 3. French are winning 9-5. The Highlanders will reroll their 2. 8-9. French have 2 more rerolls. They're going to try to beat the 3. Highlanders were forced to retreat. They'll take 4 CDs damage. There was nobody within the 6 inches that they disordered, so they send up back behind their old partners in crime. And they take no casualties. That's awesome. I like that. That's great stuff. And then Soult's last Now's Your Time. Just going to get 2 units shooting. The other Italians are way too far away. Still back here in the rear. They will reform after this during the movement phase. So we'll get a regular volley plus 2 CDs from each of these guys against their units across from them. All right, the 40th's in trouble. They are unformed. They're 1 casualty away from dispersing. And they're about to get hit by that Italian unit. That's not good. And the 69th is if they've got 3 casualties, the same as the 40th, and they're up to 4 casualties. 2nd Battalion of the Italian Infantry Regiment going in against these guys that are in deep trouble. But the 40th going out in a blaze of glory. They're going to unload with a strong British volley. No, they're not. They're just going to fire 2 CDs. One's the weakest volley, and one's the extra for being drilled. The minor victory, they are able to get the 2 casualties on the Italians, making them worn with 6 casualties. Italians will have 2 rerolls, and the British will have 2 rerolls. Unfortunately, the 40th suffered 3 casualties, and they're unformed and worn. So, yuck. So they're going to be rolling 4 dice. The Italians are worn, so they'll roll 3 dice. Six against 2. They're going to be rolling those 2 1s real quick. Here come the British rerolls. And 9-6. Italians are going to do their first reroll on the 2. We're going to stop right there and get melee with Elan. Oh. The Moscow Grenadiers come running down the hill with their infantry assault and slam into the lone French battalion of the 36th. Oh, baby! Alright, guards against line. Never a good thing. They're veterans, not guards. Sorry about that. Technically, the French have already fired, so sorry about that. No closing fire, baby! I can't reload that fast. So they're going to get nailed. They're both rolling 2 dice. The French have no rerolls. The Russians will have 1 for being a higher troop grade, 2 for glory, and then 3 and 4 for the 2 supports. Respectable, the French with a 7. The Russians going to immediately reroll a 3 and just keep on going. Oh, yeah, I'm going to stop. Veteran grenadiers, sorry, just veterans, Russians, are going to get melee with Elan, going downhill into the French. Lots of dice, which will be unformed. All right, that's the end of the charge phase. We'll go ahead and go on to skirmish shooting here in a minute. I don't know, but well, there's some skirmishers out here. Contrary to rumor, you'll be happy to know I actually did remember to do the move phase. I was hoping to do a low level, but you really can't tell what the heck happened if I don't stand up. So please forgive my knees creaking and some of the grinding of dust on the floor, but here we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's fun getting old, huh? These French under Mazarin kind of moved out, especially to protect the right, expecting a breakthrough as the the Moscow Grenadiers slam into the lone French battalion there on the side. Plus they have their artillery out there too, but still, I want to be better safe than sorry. These guys moved over here, they might as well do something. Some of the Prussians started moving. They went from retreat to unformed. Those gentlemen kind of slithered around a little bit. They didn't want to move too much. Well, they were hesitant. They didn't do anything. Sorry, I forgot about that. These guys were kind of static because they were hesitant. The guards stayed still. They're going to stick with the volley for a while. Here's where the big moves happened. The Hanoverians rotated with the King's German Legion. These guys moving up in anticipation of them breaking. Probably should have moved the cavalry this way, but I didn't. Cavalry's got there's a couple flash points the cavalry might have to be in 2 places at once. Also, the other brigades have moved up. King's German Legion has moved up. The Guard has moved up. They continued their support there. Over here, the 9th Legers just kind of spread out. These gentlemen defeated the Highland Brigade in hand-to-hand or in the charge phase. And then basically, we're not sure what's going to happen over here. I was going to commit the Vistula Legion to come this direction, but got the 9th Leger to do that, and I'm not 100% sure these Italians are going to be able to make it. And these last, I got to change these Italians. This one will go to just formed, and these guys will move to unformed. Alright, 4 French skirmishers of 5th Division, or 5th Brigade, sorry, wish I had 5 divisions. I need a bigger table for that though. Are going to fire at these British rifles of this unit here. They put 2 casualties on those riflemen. Might as well fire them back while we're here. It's not the right way for General d'Armée 2, but it's better for my knees. These guys will shoot back 6 shots because they're rifles with 4 bases. By shooting, they reduce the French down to 2 bases. I think they kill 1 base off. Time for these voltigeurs to disappear into the ranks and get recalled before they cause a, what's it called? Ah, faltering brigade. Oh, here comes the French cavalry. Oh, they look awesome. Final skirmish base shooting will be these 5 skirmisher bases of the Vistula Legion firing into the Highland Brigade Battalion. The embattled 79th is in trouble. They're up to 9 casualties. Definitely. Highlanders have been everywhere. They've been fighting Italians, Polish. They're fighting the world of nations and French. And they're just taking a beating here in the center. Hoping the guard can punch through here. That was their whole job, was to protect the guard's right, and they've done a good job. Alright, let's see what happens. We're going on to artillery. Speaking of the guard, they're about to get a mouthful of canister. 1st Battalion of the Tobolsk Regiment is up on the hill there, still above this melee beneath them, so the artillery is going to blast them at effective range. Forgot these guns were an artillery assault, so I'm going to owe them 2 more combat dice. The Russian battalion suffers 3 casualties from those, really the assault fire is the only thing that got them. Alright, moving down the line. This battery's got to hold fire because the cavalry is right in front of them. Move over to Damon. He's hesitant, so he can only shoot out to effective range, which is 30 inches, so he'll fire at those British and the Rowell's Fusiliers behind them. The battery on the left is worn, so they're going to go down they go down to a weak, right? Yeah, there'll be an inferior battery fire. Sorry about that. They both get bounced through into the Welsh. The 29th goes up to 5 casualties, and the 23rd takes their first. Alright, now we get canister fire into the guard. This should be nice. Guards take 2 points of 2 casualties, and they go up to 4 casualties now. This battery is going to do their usual thing. They're going to fire the Black Watch, would bounce through into the Hanoverians on the hill. They have a complete malfunction, and then they go to themselves a casualty, and this final battery fires just canister into the Cameron Highlanders. That'll cause a discipline check and get them up to 10 casualties. They're going to save 1 level down because they're worn, so they'll need a 7 to not have issues. Oh, Cameron Highlanders go informed under the sheer weight of all that firepower. British guns returning fire. These guns are going to fire. They're going to concentrate on that gun on the hill in front of the guard. That's where they're going to launch their attack. So long range shot at those gentlemen. 2 at once. These guys will also fire across at that same gun. Hawker's guns are going to join in on this and fire their artillery assault on these gentlemen as well, both batteries. One of the British batteries tries so hard they cause themselves a fatigue casualty, but they pound 6 casualties into that battery over there, blowing them away, killing everybody. What's left of them retreat. The guns are dismantled, and they take off, faltering the brigade. Great coordination of fire as British artillery concentrates, blowing away Peugeot's artillery brigade, faltering him. Oh, wow. Still have the final gun on the hill as the Russian Ostro battery has reached their new location. They're going to fire across the line down here at these French. Those 12 pounders are actually in canister range. They're going to unload into these gentlemen here. Skirmish line absorbs 1 casualty. 2 go through into the 1st Battalion 27th. They will also have to take a discipline check, needing a 7. They go informed. That ends the artillery shooting phase, we'll go on to volley fire. We'll start down here. I think we got a couple, don't we? First up, 3rd Battalion, 27th, firing into the 88th. They raised the 88th to 7 casualties, and they're now worn. Oh, just getting, a lot of these units are just getting pounded, and they're just starting to, I think we'll start seeing some units just buckling off here as they continue to just fire at each other from point blank range. 4th Battalion, 27th fires into the 28th. Let's see what they could do. They raised the 28th to 6 casualties. They're now worn. Alright, the Guard, the old Guard, firing into these Hanoverians. They already have 8 casualties. Oh, good luck, gents. The Hanoverian Field Battalion from Verdun, they were content to be a screening force, you know, covering the King's German Legion as they advanced up the middle here, and knowing the British Guard on the right were the main focus. They thought they were just kind of just going up here to take some fire, take a couple rounds, and then be done. And out of the smoke, here come the Old Guard Grenadiers and the Imperial Guard Brigade, led by Mike de Slauray. Oh, it's insane! They just completely got destroyed. They were chilling. They took like a first volley. They buckled. They took a second volley, and that was it. They said, "We're out of here." They are dispersed. We've also got a destiny roll for the Old Guard, so let's see if that gets them some more bonuses. Having a little dramatic license here. The Old Guard, with their destiny roll, would have got recovered a casualty, but they didn't have any, and they get 1 free move. So their free move is they moved in and charged the King's German Legion. Probably would have been unformed by the dispersing Hanoverians running through their lines, and then out of the chaos, here comes the Old Guard, slams into them with the lawn, and we'll do that melee in the hand-to-hand phase at the end of the turn. That sounds fair. Mike wrote them in there. They don't get supports, but just their 1 unit came forward, but that sounds fair. General Adam, his brigade is now faltering after the Hanoverians abandoned their positions after getting destroyed by the Old Guard. Now he's like looking to his left going, holy cow, who are these freaks? Thankfully, reinforcements are on their way up. He's going to need some help. Alright, firing their first volleys of the battle. These gentlemen fired downhill at the Hanoverians coming up at them. Hanoverians suffered their 3rd casualty. This battalion of the 69th is going to fire into the 1st Guards, closing up the hill. First Guards have marched all the way across this battlefield, getting hit by cannonballs. Oh, and canister. Now they get nailed with a massive volley from these French from the 69th who are waiting on them. 4 casualties, taken up to 8 with a discipline check. Very realistic in my opinion as they go unformed under the strain of all that firepower. Alright, that is that for the French. Cameron Highlanders unformed and are worn. So they're going to fire a pathetic volley plus an extra combat dice into this skirmish line. A really sad volley from these gentlemen. They'll do the same thing. They just 2 dice, 2 combat dice, because they are worn and they are unformed. No effect as they are reeling. Moving down the line to the Hanoverians, they'll just fire a how many casualties they got? And they'll do a standard volley. They're going to fire at these gentlemen that are hitting the Guard. They do 1 casualty on the 2nd Battalion, 69th. I think we're over into the fun zone here. Oh, yes. Let's see how battered up these guys are. What kind of volleys are coming out of there. 29th is going to fire an inferior volley, but they'll get the extra combat dice from being disciplined into the French. French go up to 5 casualties. Moving over to the 88th, they're going to fire an inferior volley with the discipline dice, or combat dice, into their counterparts. Gotta love these close-range musketry battles. They put another 2 casualties on the French, raising them to 3. All right, that ends the musket phase, and we're going on to melee, which is, we'll start down here near me, and we'll work our way across the battlefield. Russian veterans with a lawn fighting the French unformed, and the Russians are charging downhill into them. That should be fun. Russians are going to have a huge advantage with dice rolls and with hat choices versus the French here. Definitely, they're accessorizing a little bit better than the French are, which is, you don't hear that much. French retreat with their casualties. They unformed, the unit was right behind them. The Russians advanced just about an inch because they can't get within 3 inches of the next unit. Their supports came with them down the hill a little bit away from the artillery. And that's the first hand-to-hand. We move over to the Prussians versus the French on the left. The French are attacking uphill, but they have Ney with them. They have Now's Your Time, so they've got like a turbocharged glory. The Prussians are unformed, and here we go. French are victorious. They can't take the ground because the other Prussian supports are right there. The Prussians are forced way the back there behind these gentlemen. They're up to 10 casualties now as they retreat back behind a formed infantry unit. Oh, this brigade's taking a beating. They're not faltering because the other guys were able to come out of retreat status during the movement phase. So just right now only have 1 battalion in retreating status. You need 2 to get into faltering. All right, that's the end of the on this side of the melee phase. I think we go over to the Imperial Guard next. KGL are veterans. There's no pushover here, as but the highly elite French Old Guard will definitely have a couple more dice, especially with them having a lawn and KGL being unformed. We'll definitely have to have a rematch of that later. If they draw, the Old Guard wins because they're a higher class, but they're unformed, taking 3 casualties. The King's German Legion is pushed back behind the other British, and I think they'll unform the unit behind them as well. I guess if they're within 6 inches, sorry. And they are up to 4 casualties back there on the hill, unformed. Yeah, the 29th was unformed as they were close enough to get passed through before they could stream into single columns and stuff. It's kind of tight spaces over here, but we knew that. All right. How much hand-to-hand do we got left? This ugly one over here as the last stand of the 40th against the Italians. These guys have been battling since like turn 2. All right, here we go. Oh, the unformed British. Yeah, they're worn too. They're definitely at a disadvantage here. Only thing they got going for them is they're uphill. Those British gave it everything they could, but they finally buckled, and the Italians crest the hill. They kind of did like you get a 6-inch like consolidation move almost. So they couldn't take it all because the British were pretty close, but they kind of shifted over a little bit and brought their reserve. And you can also move your supports. So the Italians, the 2 battalions up here, kind of combined together. The other 2 are still way the heck back there. That also falters this brigade, and that's what we're getting a lot of. They're starting to falter. They're starting to buckle. And that's the end of turn 5. Wow. I think we have 3 faltering brigades right now. 1 French, 2 British. I might be wrong. I'm always wrong, but it's cool. Okay, we'll see you in turn 6, man. Woo! All right, get your bets in. Can Napoleon keep up his streak? Can he get 6 in a row, or can Wellington finally seize initiative one time? Let's do some core orders. Turn 6. Napoleon's going to use his core adjutant to try to keep that blue dice alive. Napoleon's decided it's too dangerous out there to get out there and ride the line, so that's not happening in turn 6 if he needs to. See what old Wellington can do. Let's see what his core orders are like. Wellington is not going to have access to his black dice this turn. Let's check ADC availability for Marshal Ney. Is he still in the thick of it, stabbing people, trying to get to those Prussians? Russians aren't too far away either. They want to take him home as a trophy. Lion of Moskova, he's freaking dominating. 6 ADCs available. He's at his best when he's in the middle of it. So, yeah. Just got to get him fired up, and he does awesome. Solt, you gotta have to kind of show him some famous paintings or some religious artifacts that he can steal, and he gets fired up too. Let's see what he can do. Solt kind of boots it and gets 3. Napoleon might hook him up, but we'll see. We'll go on to the Earl of Uxbridge. Uxbridge rocks it with 6 orders. He's feeling cool. And then there was Picton. What can he do, baby? Napoleon gives an ADC to Solt. Now he's up to 4. And let's see what Wellington wants to do. Wellington kind of does a little signal with his hat, and the guy he had hanging out in Ney's command spills the ink pot all over his table. The spy has been activated on the white dice. Ney's got to reroll all of his ADCs again. Oh, what a butthead. You're going to do that once a game. It pays off. Ney chokes like a big dog. Only gets 2 ADCs. Ney's not going down like that. He plays Chief of Staff using his last CNC command. He stabs the spy. Gets a new pot of ink. After he crushes that guy's skull with his old one. And now he's gonna go for it again with Chief of Staff and re-roll 4 of his ADCs plus gain 2 more. No, he missed 3, sorry. So he's gonna roll 3 and gain 2 more. Ney is fired up. Back up to 6 ADCs again. He's got no CNC orders anymore. And he's ready to try to whoop these Russians and Prussians and Austrians as quick as possible. Alright, Ney is going to go crazy, just trying to be everywhere. Infantry assault over here on the right. Infantry assault and glory here on the left. And then a forwards tasking to bring the guard brigade back together again. An infantry assault over here, attacking into the heart of the coalition center. So, yeah, it's kind of. I'm sure the cavalry is going to try to do something too. So, what a mess! All right, Ney is active. Let's see what he does. Kind of spread his commands thin. You can't really attack in 4 places at once and have backups for all this. So everyone's rolling 1 dice with no re-rolls. Even the guard, they have 2 commands, so they lose their bold brigadier. Alright, let's see what happens. Ney must have been upset about that spy thing. He really was motivated. Everybody is active, which I don't think I've had in a long time. Alright, that's outstanding. See what they can do. Alright, let's go over to Solt. Yes. Alright, Solt's going to burn his last CNC command too. It's like all or nothing. Post of honor with Grenier's regiment or brigade trying to attack the guard. Oh, trying to take off some oomph off that attack going in against Napoleon's headquarters. And then his last 2 ADCs are going to go into here and are going to be the divisional reroll with an ADC to try to keep Peugeot from falling apart after he lost his cannon. Grenier automatically obeying orders with the CNC command. Everybody else, lots of double rolls because of bold brigadiers. So here we go. Everybody passes and Peugeot rallies back to hesitant this turn, but he's not wavering or soif que peu, so that's pretty good. Alright, on to the Earl of Uxbridge. He might have 2 wavering. Oh, maybe he does, I can't remember. Uxbridge is sharing the love. He's giving Stuart, a reroll. The faltering Halkett, he's getting divisional morale and a reroll. Sending the cavalry in. Ponsonby's getting a forwards tasking and a reroll. Infantry assault for Carmichael. And that's everything he's got. So, whoop-de-doo, here we go, baby. Uxbridge ends up with a mixed bag, which is probably not the best. Halkett goes wavering. He's not able to rally. All 4 of his line battalions become unformed, and I'll take 2 CDs worth of damage. I'll roll those in a second. Ponsonby couldn't get his order across. Cavalry kind of looked at him like, it's tea time. We're not going anywhere, homie, till we're done. So, no cavalry charge. Nay's laughing at him. Just sent him a postcard from a real cavalry charge. Said, sorry, sucker. And so the British cavalry is chilling. Maybe later on they'll get a better charge. But here we go. They're waiting for a more dramatic moment to come in and slaughter everything. And so we'll do the 2 CDs for each one of these line battalions. So most of the casualties you take during a wavering or guys just peeling off and running for the hills shows you the true grit of these British infantry units. Only the 32nd has 1 casualty. The Hanoverians not quite as good. Sorry, gents. They're reservists. It's okay. They have 2 guys peel off, and they're up to 4 casualties. Picton only has 4 ADCs. He's kind of having some issues as lots of Prussians are getting driven back and reforming. The Russians are kind of scattered, as you see here. What's left of 2 Prussian forces is up there. They're kind of in trouble on the left, which was supposed to be their strength. So I'm going to really kind of count on Savinovich to get it together. I'm giving him a reroll. Von Steinmetz, I don't know what he's going to do. He's just got to get in the way for a minute. Very importantly, I think, is Stedman. So we got a reroll here. So he's going to want to move forward, solidify this part of the line, and be there to buy time for the rest of these Prussian units that need to get into line, because I'm really not liking the fact that they've been trapped in column, but that's on me. I thought it was going to work at first. I was going for speed, but it's obviously their firepower got wasted by the French. So that's 2 for rerolls, and only had 4 to work with. We do have a faltering brigade here in the center, which is under pressure, huge pressure, as the guard just crushes into the left side of Adam. So giving him a reroll and a divisional morale. Well, on a good note, Adam's able to rally. He's going to be hesitant this turn. The 2 major points that Picton kind of said were valuable, Stedman and Savinovich, both follow orders, but everything else fails miserably. Von Steinmetz, he doesn't know. He's got half his troops everywhere. He's just kind of drooling, and everybody's screaming at him. He has no idea what's going on. He's caught in the middle between 2 battalions up front getting crushed by the French and 2 battalions coming back from their vacation in northern Holland. So he's confused. What's his name in the middle here? Hang on. Johnstone, under pressure, just having issues while his boys are getting just pounded by this French unit. Keeps coming in with it. At least they're in a close range volley fight, which they can keep doing. Might not be that big of a deal. Definitely going to affect Wellington's ability to gain the initiative on this one. And then Mitchell getting concerned as the old guard is coming towards him, has a bit of a panic attack. Can't order anything. So, issues. Wellington's going to be rolling 4 dice on the initiative just because he has 2 Oh, he's got 3 hesitant brigades with Picton, and he's got a faltering brigade and a hesitant brigade with Uxbridge, as things for the coalition are kind of unraveling this turn. Got to do something to kind of bring it back. The highlight has been that spy move, which was quickly overcome by Ney, and now let's just see what they can do to salvage this disaster, as they've got troops all over the place. I think if you added all of Picton's 4 dice together, they still wouldn't have made 6. So Napoleon continues to snatch up the initiative, 6 in a row. Yeah, we're going to go right into charge phase, and let's see if what can happen here. Let's roll the forwards bonus real quick for the old guard on their charge. Well, you heard it here first. I'm calling this the greatest charge phase ever in the history of the basement. So, not of my basement. Not being cocky, like saying it's better any charge phase to happen in your basement. All right, so nothing over here. I started over here just to kind of, it builds up as we go this way. A lot. All right, Soult's Post of Honor going in against the 2 of the British battalions from the Guard. They're going against the Coldstream Guard. So that's happening. They split them in half. They realigned to face them. The 1st Battalion, 1st Guards passed 2nd Battalion, the 1st Guards. They overleapt them, and they've charged in against Peugeot's lead battalion over here, get on the hill. This is where it gets nuts. The forwards command you saw was 11 inches for the Guard, which was great. The chasseurs of the Guard, of the old Guard, passed up the old Guard and slammed into these gentlemen back here, kind of bypassing the King's German Legion. The rest of the Guard took a run with it because they were with them, so they just ran right along, and kaboom, they're in there. This is where it gets really dumb. The French cavalry charged around the woods and slammed into the rear of the Austrian landwehr. And it's taking advantage of von Steinmetz having a complete and utter mental breakdown. He doesn't know what to do. And then to complete off the sandwich, the French from Clouseau's brigade hit the Austrian line regiment all by itself. So, the Russians just didn't have enough to charge with anything else. They were too spread apart. So, trying to systematically destroy this brigade right here. So that is it, which is nuts. The cavalry charge. Woo, baby. The cannon will get fire on them as they come in, so they're going to try to obliterate somebody. That's one good thing that wasn't even von Steinmetz, that was Stemitovich, right? The Russians placed that there. Everything else this is make or break turn, as the British Guard makes a dash to try to snatch up Napoleon. Might turn from a capture mission into a kill mission. And then just looking over there is just nutso. Let's see what happens. All right, baby. The Austrian line unit is going to fire their 1 CD straight ahead into the closing fire into the French. 3rd Battalion, 36 suffers 1 casualty, and that's it. Austrians are going to have 0 rerolls. The French, with the glory, are going to have 3. So you definitely want to win by 6 here. Okay, so the Austrians are stuck on 4. French are going to reroll their 3. And that is game over. Win by 6 on a charge is complete and utter annihilation. Austrian Line Battalion retreats. They reform back there behind those 2. They're going to take 66 damage. And that'll be... I didn't have a chance to clear the other retreat from before, so that'll falter the brigade. Von Steinmetz goes from worst to even more worst. It's not even English. But it is Prussian. Yeah, that was horrible. These guys could choose to recover a casualty, which I think they will. That cavalry, those unit retreating through them within 6 inches unforms the artillery, which is going to weaken their shot against the guard cavalry. It'll still be serious, but still be canister to the face. Take 3 damage, have to do a discipline check against that canister. They are a guard unit, so they love it. Normally, these guys would form square, but since these guys came charging around the woods behind them, I don't know. I just don't. They wouldn't even have seen them coming. This would have got destroyed. They're lucky the artillery had enough time to switch over from cannonballs to grape shot or whatever canister and blast them on the way in. I'm going to give no reaction to these guys. Plus, they're like militia. French cavalry is going to get 5 rerolls versus the militia getting none. Well, the best they can do is they can't win by 6. They're not going to get a victory. So they're basically just going to have to aim for... If they get to a 10, they win, basically, the best they're able to achieve. The Austrians did all right. That was quick. They blast them. Oh. Probably not the result the Austrian reservists wanted. Combat with Elan. They're unformed against a cavalry unit hitting them in the butt end. Oh, let's see if they survive against that. I don't think so. Alright, on to the next one is the elite Old Guard Chasseurs slam into the 29th, who are unformed. That's going to be a blast. Closing fire by the British. It'll be a weak volley, but they'll get their 1 extra CD because they are drilled. They do put 2 casualties onto the Old Guard. The British, once again, are unformed, so they'll be rolling 3 dice. They have 5 casualties, thankfully, not 6. So they're 1 away from paying another penalty. And the British have 1 support. That's not the French, but the French also outclassed them by like 2 levels. Seven versus 7. French are going to do their first of their 3 rerolls. Been on fire with the rerolls. French are up to 12-7. British are going to take their 1 reroll from the Royal Welsh Fusiliers. The British should have 2 rerolls. They got a flank support too, so they have 2 rerolls. Sorry about that. Sometimes rerolls aren't better. Now we got a 2. See if we can beat that. 3 British battalions are driven back. The Old Guard advance into their space. The Guard Brigade also throws their skirmishers out front. These gentlemen became unformed in that nightmare. All of them are unformed, and we have 1 retreating unit. Now they all take a couple CDs combat damage on their retreat. The 29th, from the psychological pounding they took from the Old Guard, loses 3 casualties of guys just running for help. They don't want to be here anymore. They want to get back to England. Wow. They've just caved in. It was a beautiful line there I thought I'd formed with the 7th Coalition, and it's just starting to get crushed in everywhere. Wow. For the final charge for the French, these gentlemen are of this Clouseau? No, this is who is this? Hang on. They're charging in against the Coldstream Guard. Oh yeah, but Soult is leading the charge, which I think it does a couple things. I won't give 2 glory points later on, but they're surrendering some quality to the elite 2nd Guards. First things first, the guards are going to welcome to the party and just unload into them, and they're in attack columns, so that's going to be an extra CD for the British. They put 2 casualties onto the 3rd Battalion 70th, which is kind of clutch because they're at 5 now. Because 1, at 6 they're worn, and if you do 3, you also get a negative on the charge in. So boom. That'll be pretty much just lots of rerolls because of the elite, and the French are fully supported with 3. So the French will have 4 rerolls, and the British will have 2. The Guard are gonna, where am I at? I've like lost my guys. Oh, they are. The Guard is going to re-roll. They're using their elite status to roll that 2 over. British are going to keep going on a roll just for, well, just for intimidation factor, because they're just such badasses. They'll re-roll there too, even though they're already winning. That's what you get for being cocky. Oh, it was the Scots Guards back there. They're like, oh, we thought they stumble into them, cause trouble. All right, French, gonna try to recover. They got to be to 7. French are winning by 3, and that's as good as it's going to get. So they're going to go ahead and stop right there and win the charge. Ah, the Scots Guards blew it for the Coldstream Guards. I can't believe it. It must have been some gophers over there in the field. They stepped in them or something. The Guard retreats back. The French, with Sults urging them on, advance forward into the space. Oh, it's a nightmare. Now, Coldstream Guard will take some combat dice damage, and so will the Scots Guards. Showing some grit. They just lose one casualty between the both battalions as they fall back and reform. So they're still very combat effective, but they are like 600 yards away from their other 2 battalions. Highlanders getting cut off in here. Not looking good. Oh boy. All right, speaking of the Guards, they're going to do their hand-to-hand against the French, who are going to fire, closing fire as they come in. That's basically how it's going for the coalition this turn. They just get hammered. The French, they put like 3 musket balls in each one of those barrels and just fired. Just took them out. Ugh, I forgot these guys, their supports can't lend support because they're unformed and trashed. So it'll just, well, they get 1 support from being elite. That's about it. The French will get 2 supports. The British took 3 casualties on the way in, so they'll be rolling 3 dice against the French too. First Guards will roll their 1. Come on, baby. Save. All right, now French trying to beat that. They got 2 rerolls. French wins by 2. They will combat with Elan against the unformed Guards. All right. Wow, that was a phenomenal charge phase. Movement phase, I don't know. Moved everybody in the damn charge phase. Definitely. There's some guys on the wings that can do some stuff here. Okay, let's see what happens. End of movement phase, turn 6. We'll do the drone feed across the battlefield. These guys are kind of feeding in, supporting, just trying to lay down close musketry fire on each other. Russians are doing a good job of condensing their brigade where they were stretched out before. Still, French guns are going to hammer. Von Steinmetz panicking and the faltering. I just let him kind of fall back, and these guys were just, they didn't move. I just reformed them into the line because I felt like I screwed them the entire game being stuck in attack column. These other guys couldn't move. They've already shot. Stedman advanced his gentleman forward. Anyone who was unformed this turn reformed. Got an awesome firing line across here. This is going to be a blast to do. Most of the skirmishers have retired inside of forces or have fallen back. King's German Legion reformed, grabbed their muskets. They're going to fire on the Imperial Guard skirmish line they threw out in front. taking a playbook out of the British in the Peninsular War, kind of like moving like an open gate. The French are coming down off the hill, swinging out to the flank now that the old guard has crushed the hole right to the center, and they're going to start enfilading fire into the what's left of the British lines. Hand to hand there. Those guys moved up. Just trouble in paradise over here. The Highland Brigade is just kind of like, hell, we got to hold it. So they're sitting there, and now they're going to engage in point-blank musketry fire with the Vistula Legion and the Swiss Guards. 7th Leger moving up on both sides of the artillery. They still get one artillery blast left before it's all over on the Highlanders. And then these guys couldn't reform because they're still faltering, but the Italians and the Swiss and the Polish have moved up and are going to engage them in close range musketry fire. It's been the one shining spot for the British and the coalition forces. They haven't given up an inch, maybe an inch. The Italians have got 1 foot on the ledge here, but they are held here very firmly on this ridge. I mean, haven't even gotten to their second line at all. They're in the middle of a faltering and wavering disaster right now, but compared to, you know, cavalry went out to breakfast, never came back. Entire center got caved in. The entire center got caved in. One King's German Legion battalion kind of standing alone. Same with the Highland Brigade. They're just pockets in the middle of French troops just surrounding them, moving around through them. And over here, where the coalition should have been attacking, they really haven't got off this ridge line. If anything, they've been decimated, and now they've got cavalry loose in their ranks, and the French have just shoved them back and engaged them at close range musketry, which the British should be dominating at. Haven't got quite the dice rolls yet. So, but it's awesome. And artillery duel, about a tie, I think. Even though the French outgunned the British by like 2 batteries, so Royal Artillery doing their part. But we'll see what happens. All right, this is nuts. We'll go into skirmish firing. I don't think there's any skirmishers. Let me look real quick, and I'll get back to you. Nope, there's 0 skirmishers involved. Everything has been absorbed and fallen back into their lines. We're just kind of in the center here, like Custer's Last Stand, going, what is going on? They're looking at Mike DeSlorey just riding right past some of those riflemen. They should turn around and shoot him in the head. But they know how awesome he is, so they won't even bother him. He's like, yeah, baby. All right, I'm getting weird now. All right, I'm not even drinking beer, which is sad. I might have to have some after this turn. And we'll go into artillery, and the cannons will start blazing. Canister fire into the Russians on the far right flank. Ba-boom, sucker! Russians up to 6 now. They're going to be warned. They're going to go down a level for their discipline check. They're going to check like reservists. Those 9,000 golf balls just shred a lot of their boys, and they are unformed now, just trying to keep up here. They're just doing their part like Maverick at the end of the original Top Gun. I'm not leaving my wingman. They're guarding those Moscow Grenadiers, so doing their part but paying the price. KGL still standing on that ridge above everybody else. They are at effective range for 12-pounders, so these boys are going to blast away. One of them is going to be a weak volley, or weak, what's it called? Inferior battery fire, because they are worn. KGL is now warned, and I did find some skirmishers while I was out looking around. These guys are elite skirmishers with the guard. There's 5 of them, so that's 7 shots into the KGL. KGL's in trouble as they take on 8 casualties. Oh, I forgot. These guys aren't... They can switch from retreat to unformed and formed. It's the joy of getting your butt kicked in the charge phase. When the movement phase comes, you can make a correction. Dumont's been quietly getting the job done today. Doing good. He's really earned his reputation back from the first 4 battles. This battery's gonna, well, they're gonna have to fire across the hill at the Hanoverians. Shooting into there is like a mess now. So they're gonna go right across the hill of the Hanoverians with no bounce through. That was an inferior battery fire, just taking 1 casualty. Duke of York's Field Battalion from Ossenbrook has now have 5 casualties. I'm going to give these guys one more shot at them for their consumed canister fire into the Cameron Highlanders. They end up doing a casualty themselves. Awesome. They're up to 7. Royal Artillery smelling blood in the water. They're going to, 2 of their batteries are going to fire long-range blasts on this guy. They only need to get 3 casualties and he's gone. Both batteries will get bounced through into 9th Léger trailing battalions. That's going to be the shot heard around the world while those 2 artillery pieces just blast away that artillery section. Faltering Jamines. That was his artillery. Losing, he's faltered now. Looking back over his shoulder, probably forgot they were his artillery. He's like, oh my gosh, will those guys belong to me? And now he has a psychological breakdown. Brigade falters the Italians. Also, the 9th Léger Battalion takes a bounce through as that cannonball comes racing in from over there. Artillery's been the big loser for the French. They've lost 2 full batteries now as the crack shots of the British Royal Artillery just been hammering away on them. A good way to get a falter on a brigade. Wellington, being cagey. Look at that, man. That guy's a genius. The British Corps Artillery Brigade is going to fire at Daumont. Just try to keep peppering away at him. They gave him a break last term when they wiped out that one French artillery. Now they're going back after him. Both of Daumont's guns are both worn now as they've taken 6 casualties apiece. And the Russo-Austrian battery fired in the charge phase, so they hammered those. They're still trying to reload after hitting the, what's it called? It's the French cavalry. Oh yeah, now it's volley fire time. Starting over here on the right with these French. Soviets get rocked with 4 more casualties, taking them up to 7. They're going to take a discipline check. They are now worn and will go down to regular troops, needing a 7. Russians, tough SOBs. Good job, baby. And let's go ahead and take care of this while we're here. These guys are firing. They're going to get an extra dice because they're veterans. But they'll do an inferior volley because they're now worn. They put 2 casualties onto the 1st Battalion of 105th. These Russians up on the line, up here on the hill, are going to fire down into these French. French can't return the fire because they took part in the charge phase. The Russians did move. These, over half their units sticking out too. I think the will be fair for these Russians to fire at the artillery. They owe them one anyway. We'll do these guys first. French are up to 6 now, which is, brutal. Okay, they're worn too. These guys are worn and they're unformed, so it'll be a pathetic shot of 1 dice. They're just not going to shoot. They're going to hold off. That's just sad. Alright, it's time to swap spit all the way down the line here. Yes, baby. 30th against a French battalion here of the 27th. We'll shoot the French first at the 30th. They put 2 casualties onto them. They're going to return the favor, firing to the French with a well-disciplined volley. French are up to 4 casualties. 2nd Battalion of the 27th. Actually, no, it's the 3rd Battalion of the 27th is the front one. Going to fire into the 88th. This has been an ongoing battle. Connaught Rangers are up to 9 casualties. They're going to fire back an inferior volley at the French. They push the French to 4 casualties, slide down to the right, and this will be the final battalion of the 27th. They have 5 casualties. They're 1 away from being worn. They're going to fire on the worn 28th. The French just keep breaking out these clutch volleys, just hammering the British. 10 casualties now for the 28th. They got to take a discipline check before they can return fire. They retreat, unforming their sister battalion as they run through them back here against, right in front of Wellington. They see him and kind of stop in kind of embarrassment and kind of trying to start reforming their lines. They still take 4 CDs of damage, which could disperse them. Oh, that falters Johnstone's brigade. No fun. 27th are unformed, but they got muskets, so they're going to level them and fire them into the French with an inferior volley. Baby, let them have it. Here we go. They do 1 casualty on the French, increasing them to 6, increasing their status to worn. French coming down the hill. They did move. They'll fire into the Hanoverians as they try to outflank them. Hanoverians take 3 casualties. They're up to 6. They're worn. Now they get a discipline check. They go down a level to the enfant perdu, and let's see what they can do. Hanoverians retreat through the KGL, informing them. They form up back there, and they'll take 4 CDs of damage. Adams' brigade's in trouble. He's like surrounded. He's just faltering. He's surrounded. Oh, he's got both his Hanoverian field battalions are gone. He's got just 2 KGL battalions left. One's got 8 casualties, and one's unformed with 2. But it's not looking good. We'll see what happens here at the end of the term, but that's not looking too wonderful. Still, this KGL battalion will go ahead and fire back at those French with an inferior volley. They're going down swinging as they put 3 casualties on those French. They're going to cost discipline check too on them as well. French go unformed as they get hammered by that volley from the KGL. The other KGL battalion fires another inferior volley, which becomes a weak volley because they're firing on skirmishers. Oh, it's terrible. That has no effect on the skirmish line of the French. Campy's brigade finally getting involved. Vistula Legion unloading veterans into the Cameron Highlanders. After getting shot by every single nation under Napoleon's command for the last hour, that last volley from the Polish, who are fresh, this was too much for the Highlanders. They buckle and disperse. Faltering Pax Brigade? Oh, it's terrible. Highlanders falter. Black Watch will fire into the Vistula Legion. This will be an inferior volley because they're already worn. They're about on the edge of snapping too, I think. I'm going to take that back. They only have 5 casualties, so they're going to fire an awesome British volley into these gentlemen. They welcome the Polish to the battlefield with 3 casualties and a discipline check. These guys are veterans. Oh, they love it. They take it like a champ. Moving on. The Swiss Guards unloading into the British on the hill. The Swiss did move, so that's just a 3 plus the extra 1 for the casualty dice. So 4 casualties plus a discipline check on those British. That takes the unformed 69th up to 8 casualties. Oh, they're going to be saving as reservists. Now that takes them down to that enfant perdu because they are worn and unformed. Oh, never good. 69th, too much firepower. They break and run with their 8 casualties. They'll take 4 CDs worth of damage. Those 4 extra casualties cause the 69th to disperse. They take off running. The brigade's already faltered. The Hanoverians will fire a weak volley. They only have 5 casualties, so they're not warned yet, but they'll fire at these gentlemen with 2 dice on an inferior volley. The Swiss take a casualty, and then for the final barrage, the Italians with 6 casualties will fire an inferior volley at these British right here. Causing no effect. Alright, the British will fire back. I didn't even know this was the 9th. It's my first time using them. They have no casualties. They are unformed. So they're going to fire a weak volley back at the Italians. That raises the Italians to 8 casualties. Alright, the 9th. Way to go, baby. Making their debut. I got to get their butts back into being formed up. And that brings the basically all the firing is done. Just do hand-to-hand now, which might not be any better for the coalition. Things are going horribly wrong. I'm getting near that point of like, oh, it's over. So we'll see. We'll continue on for a little bit longer. Let's do these hand-to-hands real quick. Alright, the Guard fighting uphill against the French. British are unformed. The French have a lawn. All right. After all the modifiers, this is going to be pretty close. Lots of dice. Let's see who wins. First Guards completely punted. They get 1 hit. They suffer 3 themselves. They're up to 8 casualties. They're forced to retreat. That falters the brigade with 2 retreating battalions. Carmichael's pissed off. French are unformed after the hand-to-hand. Wow. I don't know how many British brigades aren't faltering right now. It's just a nightmare. Cannot believe this crap is happening. Okay, the dice gods not liking the British right now. Okay, so yeah, we still got the cavalry versus the Austrian reserves. So that's going to be a fun battle. It's like horrible. An elite heavy cavalry unit versus an unformed reservist unit downhill. We're going to see a lot of blue dice, not a lot of red. The Austrians almost like to know what they're doing back here. They've got up to 7 casualties now. At 10, they disperse. They retreat. They ran away out of there. And yeah, they get crushed. The brigade's already faltered already, so that's not really any more than that. And that turn will come to an end, thankfully. I gotta think about this, but right now it's gonna take a miracle for Wellington to pull this out. 7th Coalition has 5 faltering brigades. Holy cow. Yeah. French have 1 because the British guns were able to destroy that 1 artillery piece. So the Italians, Jamin is in trouble. But yeah, I'll see how many ADCs the French even get, or they're going to be taking some serious swake poo. Let's take one last look just in case. It's still beautiful, but it should be wrapping up here. Man, it's been a hell of a good battle, though. That got a little brutal there on that turn. That got a little bit demoralizing. I don't like seeing the British taking that kind of beating. Just the dice were horrible for them. Everything was retreating. Everything was... The French, every time they took their muskets out, it's like they were shooting 50 cals at them, just blowing them away. And just pushing. I think tactically, I mean, there's always room for improvement for me, but I mean, I felt like I did pretty good. I got the Guard all the way across the battlefield. I got the Highlanders into the fight. I mean, they were fighting everybody. I hate when you have a great weapon, you don't use it, which I felt like I've done in a lot of these battles where I haven't got to use the Guard. I haven't got to use the Highlanders. The only thing I'm really kind of upset about right now is that cavalry faltering, Ponsonby failing that horribly. British have done well holding up here. And they're up against it with the Italians are decent, but the Vistula Legion, Swiss Guards, Ninth Leger hasn't even gotten a fight yet. And then the Imperial Guard is just steamrolling right through the middle of the coalition forces. And then when we're outnumbered out here on the far right, Prussians and Russians just haven't got it together. Probably should have put the Prussians into line. They are, I guess the late war Prussians are more of a linear army than a column army, but well, just, you know, tried to go for speed to get there before the French could reinforce. I'm doing my end of game thing. I'm not even there yet, but I'm starting to feel that way. Then the French cavalry making this mad dash out of behind the trees. Wow. Yeah, it's just all right. These guys are starting to buckle. Not a lot of room for. Just the casualty counts are huge on both of these sides, but it's getting ugly up here. Either way, we'll see you in turn 7, and we'll be doing some serious divisional morale rolling. All right, hang in there. After the beating of turn 6, gosh, that was horrible. On to turn 7. Corps orders, starting with Napoleon, the undefeatable initiative monster machine. That sounds stupid. Sorry about that. He will utilize his corps adjutant to reroll his blue dice. Napoleon has all of his corps orders available to him. He's psyched. All right, Wellington, planning on his next vacation, probably actually thinking about where the hell he should retreat off to find another good battlefield, because this one's going to heck in a handbasket. Check his corps orders, though. He's going to utilize his corps adjutant. Get rid of that one. All right, Wellington's got all of his powers available. All right, let's go on to ADCs. We'll start with Ney, the madman. There he is in the middle of it all, just covered in blood, probably having a great time. He's a psycho. Ney has 3 available ADCs and no more CNC commands. I'm pretty sure he lost them all last time. Soult has been sensible and retired from the front lines. He has 3 ADCs, hiding behind the 9th Leger, probably standing amid the body parts of that artillery battery that just got incinerated last turn. Okay, not so good. Let's go on to the Earl of Uxbridge. This is kind of clutch. Uxbridge ends up with 3 ADCs himself, and all that's left is Picton. Picton ends up with 2. Wellington immediately plays his red dice and gives him 3. Napoleon's going to do the same thing and give Soult a 4th command. He gives him his ADC. Ney sends a telegram to General Deslorey on the other side of the battlefield telling him to do infantry assault. It's only 1 ADC tasking, so he can use his bold brigadier still. And then he gives... does he have 3 or 4? Hang on. And he gives a forwards tasking with no reroll to Emil's cavalry, hoping to dash across and crush the Russians from 2 different sides. Let's see of his 5 brigades who's following orders. General Clouseau is hesitant. The rest of the brigade is active. He's doing a lot of work, so that's fair. All right, Soult's putting a brigade, whatever it is, to get rally on Jamine, an infantry assault on Campy. He's also, so that's 2, right? That's 3. And his 4th one is a reroll over here on Peugeot. Just kind of keep people active, keep people shooting, and then hopefully use the Vistula Legion to finish off whatever's in here. Chamine's Italian brigade wavers. All 4 brigades will go. Sorry, all 4 battalions will go unformed. They'll remain faltering, and they'll all take 2 CDs worth of damage. I've already marked all 4 battalions with the dice. 3rd Battalion and 4th Battalion had some desertions. 3rd Battalion takes 2 casualties worth, and 4th Battalion in the rear with the gear takes 1. Everything else is active for Soult. Could have been worse. So we have a faltering battalion or brigade and 1 hesitant. So Napoleon will be rolling 3 dice on the initiative. Uxbridge had 3 ADCs and he has 3 faltering brigades. So Carmichael will is a bold brigadier, so he'll get an extra reroll anyway. Also, Pack will get a reroll for being bold. Halkett's on his own, no reroll. Oh boy. Halkett gets a Swake Poo, so he's hosed. Stewart goes hesitant. Ponsonby again goes hesitant. Pack and Carmichael both dig it out and rally, but they stay hesitant. So really the only active thing he's got is Hawker. And I'll see how bad this Swake Poo is, because these things are horrible. Halkett's brigade retreats. They form up back there. Really the only flat surface I could find that was behind a formed unit without being off the board. Seems like heading towards Wellington. That's not a bad place to be. They'll all take 4 CDs worth of damage. We'll figure that in a minute. Their artillery section goes low on ammo, and their skirmish line has dispersed. All 3 battalions take 3 casualties. They are all marked with a retreat status, and they're going to be out of the fight for at least 2 turns before they can even unform. Well, they'll unform this turn actually towards the end in the movement phase. Then they'll then they'll reform the turn after. Oh boy. Okay, that leaves a massive hole there in front of the Italians and the Vistula Legion, the Swiss. Going on to what's his name? Oh my god, I can't even think. Picton. Also had a brain screw up there. And we'll see what he can do. Picton, he's in trouble. He only has 3 ADCs. He basically is going to write von Steinmetz off as almost a lost cause. He can't do a repeat on him. Johnstone in the center is much more important, so he's put an ADC reroll on him. He has no bold brigadier, so everything else is single, no ADC backup, reroll backup. So it definitely could have gone a lot worse. Johnstone is able to rally back the hesitant. This battalion over here in the center is also hesitant. The big loss is von Steinmetz, who is just in trouble everywhere. Lost his nerve, lost everything. Just his brigade has done nothing but just poop the bed the entire game. Which sucks, because the Prussians are going to need to come back next. They're going all linear next time, or from now on. They're going to get a Swake Poo. These guys have nothing to retreat behind, so all of these battalions will rout off the board. He'll lose an ADC, and yeah, that sucks. Oh, huge issues. Giant open spaces. The Prussians and Austrians take off. They heard it's Oktoberfest. They're going to get good seats. They're on the way out of here. And then the giant hole over there where 1st Brigade was. We're gonna finish this turn up, but it's not looking good. If it gets horrible halfway through, I might shut it down, but oh boy. 7th Coalition's not looking good. Wellington's already looking for the next battlefield. This is Ponsonby just screwed me. Right when I wanted it, right at the clutch moment where I was like going to send him in and crash a giant hole through the French, just decided to nah, that sounds dumb. And it probably was dumb. He probably would have had 90% casualties, but it would have could have turned the tide. Now the Russians are going to get hit in the flank and hit in the front. The Imperial Guard's going to Vistula Legion is going to finish off what's left of the poor Highland Brigade, which has just fought their heart out. And these French in front of Napoleon to charge down and try to finish off what's left of the Guard. So, not good. Okay. Sad. All right, here we go. Here's a look from the other side of the battlefield. Just start seeing where the red coats are kind of getting pushed back and they're disappearing in places. That's been an awesome firefight over there. I've enjoyed that a lot. I like that. And then the Russians are dead men walking. They might actually be. They're pretty damn tough though. They could hold out. So it'd be nice to see that. But we'll start off with charges and go from there. Here you go. We can have your laugh for the day. In between, I'm cooking with my daughter Elizabeth, making some dinner for tonight, and so got my cool smock on. All right, charge phase. Little break in between. All right, see you in a minute. We have two charges. Campy sent in the Swiss Guards with 2 Vistula Legions supporting him in against the Black Watch. That's our first one. Those guys are, I think they have 5 casualties. They're not horrible. And the other one is not going to be good. Entire French cavalry brigade slams into the flank of the Russians on top of the hill. There will be closing fire on the cuirassiers from that artillery piece. You can only attack one thing at once, so they couldn't, you know, divvy off part of the brigade to attack the cavalry on the way through, which they probably would have done in reality. They would have chopped them to little pieces. But battery's unformed right now. They'll fire the cuirassiers with canister. These guys have to try to make a discipline check. They do see the cavalry coming and see if they can form square. Say the truth, all the battalions will. I'll do the other 2 right here in front, see if they can form square too. Russians are also able to form square, which is phenomenal. That's going to really help them out. It's going to be the Simbrinsk Regiment, 2nd Battalion, that's going to take a charge from the Guard Cavalry. Artillery is going to fire an inferior canister. The cuirassiers were the closest ones. They ran basically right in front of them. They're going to get blasted. All right, the cuirassiers took two casualties of that buckshot, and they'll take a discipline check if they get rocked by that artillery piece on the way by. They are too awesome not to pass that. Yes, no problems for the cuirassiers. All right, the Russians forming square, they can't fire. They can't support either because they formed square. You think that all kind of sucks, but they don't get any re-rolls. But the being in square is added into the final factoring. Basically, in the bottom it says, "Hey, if you form square, do this." So I'll show you a picture of that in a minute here. But the French are going to get a lot of re-rolls. 3 supports. They're a higher troop grade. So 4 re-rolls. See right here. I was looking everywhere to try and find re-rolls for squares, but I forgot it was built into this. Where cavalry is fighting a square, cavalry draw and roll 1 CD. That's even if they win. Anywhere if they don't win by 6, so basically they're not going to be able to do that at all. There's probably a high probability they might go into this lower column here now that the Russians have rolled a 9. First re-roll for the cavalry's a dud. They got 3 more, right? Or 2 more. No, 3 more. It's going splendid. All right, so 11 versus a 9. Basically, this one have a negative number and get disintegrated. They're still going to lose. These squares they're built to hold off cavalry. So great job by the Russians passing that discipline check as the cavalry came flying in. They definitely would have seen them coming. I really think the Austrians were screwed because they came around behind them. And these guys were like, they saw the cavalry mauling those guys and those guys running, so they were like, yeah, we're forming square. The French definitely would have done a 180 to go back. That'd have been the most likely path of least resistance would have been to peel off after failing the attack on the square. So they're in the rear quarter of the British lines, which is going to be a little bit disconcerting. The square and the lead unit will take 1d6. We'll just take a casualty dice roll. I didn't think about being informed, which I thought they would be, but that's all right. We'll take the 1d6 each of them, or take just one dice, and then we'll go from there. Russians take a casualty. The guard cavalry, they're just boss. They go back there and chill. Get ready for the next charge. That's not good. These guys are going to be caught between cavalry and infantry. Black Watch will fire a solid British volley. They have 5 casualties, so they're not worn yet, and they're not unformed right now. Black Watch are not fans of the Swiss banking systems. They unload into those gentlemen. 4 casualties and a discipline check. What a great volley. So we do a discipline check for the Swiss, but they're saving his guards. They need a 5. Alright, for this charge, now the Swiss will be rolling 3d6, taking the lowest 2, and the Black Watch will roll 2d6. Unfortunately, the Highlanders will not have any supports, while the guards will have, they're also guard, they're a level higher, so they'll get 1 for that, and 2 supports, they'll get 3. Well, there's no point rolling anything over. The Swiss get an 11. The guard get the Black Watch get a 8. They lose by 3. They're going to get pushed back. They're going to retreat. They might still have, I don't think they have anybody still retreating right now, so that'll just be 1 unit. And they'll take 4 CDs worth of damage. Black Watch are defeated. They retreat. They take 3 CDs of damage. They end up back there behind the cavalry. They now have 8 casualties. General Pack is right there with his skirmishers in front of his other 2 remaining battalions. Yeah. We'll see you in a second after movement phase. Oh yeah, baby. I'll be right back. In the middle of my running back and forth to the kitchen, I forgot I did have an infantry assault on Deslauret's Imperial Guard Brigade. Middle Guard, supported by the Young Guard Tirailleurs, charge into the flank of the Scots Guards. So we'll do that. And these guys, thankfully, were in the movement phase afterwards. They would have been out of the way. They just moved forward a little bit just so they can engage in close-range musketry with the KGL. Guard will get... well, the British have 2... Well, hang on, are they still in the same brigade? That's the big problem. None of those guys are in the same brigade, so the first roll Scots will get no supports and they're unformed. They'll roll 3 dice. The middle guard is elite, and they're supported, so they're a rank higher, plus they have a support. Point doing any rerolls. That's a win by 6. Oh, crushed by a victory. First roll Scots get crushed. I think I hit Scots guards accidentally. They'll take 66 casualties. They retreat. General Mitchell took off with them because he looked around. There was nobody else in his brigade around. Oh, it's horrible. No one else was retreating at the same time, so thankfully not faltering. They take 4 casualties, and a lot of the British are just getting pushed back to the edge of the board here. At least they're less distance to run. Tip of the spear, I think, is the what's left of the Highland Brigade. Oh. We'll go into the skirmish shooting, and there's no skirmishers able to fire. All the skirmishers have been pushed back, or actually the Highland Brigade skirmishers will fire. I don't think I showed much of the movement phase. The Swiss moved up with support. Italians are stuck there. 9th Leger is starting to move around and just trying to get into the fight before it's over. this brigade of Greniers kind of split and did like kind of a wedge formation. They're firing forwards and firing backwards since they've got British forces kind of surrounded in this pocket. You saw what the Guard did. They kind of did the same thing. They split into a wedge. And then the Russians down there, I'll show you them when I get back. They moved up onto the square to blast them. Down at this end, 36 was hesitant. They're not moving even though Ney's screaming at them. 105th kind of moved out to try to put more guns onto the Russians up here. The Russians who were out in the square immediately came out of square. They were in the charge phase. They can't do that, can they? Ah, crap. Yeah, technically they should all still be in square. But we'll leave them like that for the moment. I think this game is over. All right, we'll do the... I'll have to remember that when it comes time to shoot. They'll have to pop back in. We'll start off as promised with the Highland Brigade skirmishers. 3 bases, 4 shots. And that about sums it up. Dud. They fire into the ground. Ah, sadness. All right, artillery. These guns are going to fire on Wellington's position. It'll just be 1 dice firing into a defended area, so nothing too exciting. They do put a 4th casualty onto the 59th next to Wellington. Napoleon's going to fire both of his guns, inferior volleys, across the ridge at Hawker's brigade, since they've been picking on them the entire game. Put 2 casualties on the battery on the right, plus a discipline check. Battery on the left takes a casualty. They're both up to 3. Hawker's just sitting there chilling, talking on his umbrella. And we'll get a destiny roll at the end. That battery passes their discipline check, but they'll take 2 more CDs worth of damage from the destiny roll. The larboard battery takes 2 more casualties from that destiny roll. Up to 5 casualties now. They got hammered pretty good there, taking 4 more. This battery will engage in a inferior barrage against the counter battery style against over here and these guys on the hill. No effect. The British gun over there will fire. The batteries will fire right back at the French, trying to teach them a lesson. And they do, cranking that battery up to 5 casualties. They got a discipline check now, as the British guns found the range and are nailing them. 2nd Brigade's battery goes unformed. They get people, they're scraping them off the sides of the building after they get hammered with that artillery. Hawker, continuing his duel with Damon, fires both batteries at him. They're both up to 7 casualties. And then the Russo-Austrian battery already fired in the charge phase against the cavalry, who is now chilling behind them, waiting to kill them in about 13 seconds. They're like, we're about to die. I know this game isn't black powder, but the French cavalry started here. And they... not too shabby. I mean, that's a good... well, it's 7 feet across, plus they went like 3 feet over. So they went a good 10 feet in 6 turns. That's not bad for GDA. For supposedly not having a lot of room to maneuver, they did pretty good. Where the... unfortunately, in contrast, the British cavalry went 6 inches. They maybe went 1.5 foot. It's pretty sad, but that was horrible dice rolling. I guess the Imperial Guard went boom. They went a good 7 feet too, so they went pretty good too for on foot. All right, sorry about that. That's just me. These poor guys haven't gone too far at all. Just banging against each other for the entire turn, entire game. So we're down to the volley fire. We're not going to have any melee. Nobody ended up in hand-to-hand, but we're going to have a whole lot of volley fire. We'll be right back with that. I can't wait. That's probably the best part of the game. It's freaking awesome. I love it. It's barrage time. These French are going to fire at this Russian battalion here. The French did move. They raised them to 8 casualties. 1st Battalion of 105th with 2 casualties going to fire into the Moscow Grenadiers. We're up to 7 casualties. Oh. They're up to 9 casualties. It's looking bad. So these 2 French battalions here would technically be firing at this Russian battalion that's should be in square. I took them out prematurely. I forgot they couldn't move after they took part in the charge phase. Put 4 casualties on the Azov regiment. Alright, now the Russians will shoot back and then we'll close out this side over here. These gentlemen, with 8 casualties, they'll fire an inferior volley into the French. They take 1 casualty. The Moscow Grenadiers will fire an inferior volley at the French they've been facing off against. They have the extra dice because they are veterans. They raise him to 3, and then the Azov battalion would be in square will fire 1 dice at this French line battalion right here. That'll basically close out the right flank of the French. Really, the big disappointment for me was my inability to get the Prussians out of attack column into line and start exchanging volleys with the French on this side. I went for speed. That was a big mistake. The Russians also failed to get here. They had a couple hesitant moves in the beginning and just didn't move. So I got this piecemeal attack. The French move with speed. They had reinforcements over here. They had artillery, close range artillery blasting away, which was a lot more effective than the Russian stuff. And even though the Russians did a phenomenal job of holding this plateau, really needed them and the Prussians to push the French and to sweep this right side, and it just it never happened. French are here. I mean, this brigade over here is definitely more injured. This brigade on the right, I think it's the 105th, is fairly fresh. And I think over time the Russians are starting to show casualties. Plus they have cavalry in their rear quarter. So it's going to be they're gonna flee here at some point. They just can't handle this, from getting 2 infantry brigades attacking them from the front and trying to defend from their rear. It's not going to go well. In fact, I enjoy shooting. I love it. Might be a little while to get another game of Napoleonics in, but I'm going to go ahead and just call it here. There's no hand-to-hand left. These guys are going to exchange volleys. I don't think these guys might actually break here in the center. They're in trouble, which could cause more trouble for the British. Of course, they're going to falter that brigade. These gentlemen are still very fresh. French have just done a phenomenal job of just getting in their grill and pushing them on this side, where they were kind of net even over here. So they overcame, even though they had the support of the guard slammed right through and the cavalry went right through too. Over here where the British were super strong, and the French weren't pushovers. They had, the Vistula Legion and the 9th Leger over here. But really the Vistula Legion hasn't done anything. They never really got into the fight. The fight was too damn fast for them to catch up into. And the Swiss and the Vistula Legion just in the last turn and a half basically have started getting involved. The Italians bore the brunt of everything, along with Grenier, who just was amazing, plus the gentleman on the top of the hill in Peugeot's brigade facing off against the guard. These 2 artillery batteries did phenomenal work. It was great getting the Highlanders in the fight, and the British Guard kind of dudded out on them. They took some horrible dice rolling. I mean, they got a couple good shots in, but they definitely got hosed by some amazing shooting by the French. Just ended up beating them. On the hill, it's starting to just go away now. The lead 1st Brigade got crushed, and now the backup brigade's getting pushed in. They're going to end up losing as they're up against now just superior forces, and their casualties are mounting for these guys. They're going to be in trouble. So, and then the British cavalry just was a no-show, and that's, just bad dice rolling, which usually isn't a big problem. We only had a 20% chance like 3 times of getting to do something, and they bid it every single time, so it kind of sucked. I was trying to hold them for that right move, and they just, time the right move showed up, they went hesitant. So I was like, oh. So that's on me. I think from what the channel members' plans were, I really wanted the British to hold the hill, attack with the Guard, and basically use enflating fire from the hill and crush in the French on this side over here. But more of a delaying action on this hill, which ended up happening, but they did good, I think, until the very end. And then the big attack was supposed to be the Russians and the Prussians sweeping the French. But what ended up happening is from about the center over here, the French just destroyed them and went right through them. You can just see where the open grasslands are, and even though they didn't make a lot of progress over there on the far right, they held up the entire 10 battalions of the Russian and Austro-Prussian brigades. And then the center was just complete destruction, with Grenier and Deslorey leading the charge and just pushing everybody out of the way, and then Peugeot doing his thing to protect Napoleon. So just clutch dice rolling for the French and missed opportunities for the British again. And sorry, having a sip of ginger ale there, but overall I loved it. And I'd like to thank all you guys for watching it. I want to thank channel members for their ideas on the names of the built-up areas that didn't really get into effect. They got bombarded a couple times by artillery fire, and then the tactics were fun. It was great having input there, and then trying to make that work. Getting to the point where I'm starting to add on more square footage to this table. If I'm going to continue with these big Napoleonic games, I think I'll get at least a couple more games on this because I think the investment in 3 6x4 fur battle mats now, the price is almost doubled. I mean, that's probably a $350 to $450 investment, so it's a bit steep. And when you're trying to buy miniatures and then you have to put terrain on all that increased surface area too, so it can get there, but it'll definitely be worth it when I do it. So thanks for everything you guys do. Yeah, this was awesome. It's just anytime I do Napoleonics, it's just fantastic. I'm trying to pan very slowly and just kind of drool, because I think after this we've got to continue the chain of command, where we'll do 2 large platoons for each side and 1 armored platoon. We'll have another game of Oathmark, and then it's I'm going to be joining Don for Boots on the Table and doing Civil War stuff. So that's going to be I do want to do my tutorial stuff for Hot Lead and Cold Steel and the other rule set that it's going to escape my mind right now. So, but yeah, General d'Armée, phenomenal. Hope you enjoyed this, and do your usual stuff if you want to, and You guys are fantastic. Thanks for everything you do, and have a fantastic week. Thanks. Take care now.